morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the regular session of the Yuma County Board of Supervisors. Also sitting as all special taxing district, November 4th, 2024, 9 a.m. Board members will attend in person, by telephone, or remotely via electronic conferencing. We're all here. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Supervisor Lyons, can you please lead us?
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll move on to call to the public. Call to the public is held for public benefit to allow individuals to address issues within the board's jurisdiction. Board members may not discuss items that are not specifically identified on the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to Arizona Revised Statute 38-431.01H, action taken as a result of public comments will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, responding to criticism, or rescheduling the matter for further discussion and decision at a future date. Public comments may be made in person or submitted by email at publiccomment@yumacountyaz.gov. The email forms of public comments will be accepted until 8 a.m. the morning of the meeting. All public comments will be read aloud during the Yuma County Board of Supervisors meeting that starts at 9 a.m. Necessary, do we have any emails?
No, we did not.
I do have a speaker form, Gail Castricone. Morning, Gail.
Good morning. My name is Gail Castricone, and I am the neighborhood advocate for the Avenue B and C Colonia Butterfly Project. Tomorrow is Election Day. It is an honor and duty to vote in the United States of America. Note that it says United. Our nation is in grave danger of losing what our military fought and died for, one nation under God. Our values and morals have been compromised in a way that we have never experienced before in America. Matthew 22:37, the first commandment is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. The second commandment is you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I'm wearing this t-shirt on behalf of my son. It's called Land of the Free Because of the Brave. My son, this is in honor of my son, Kenny. He passed away in 2016 from a blood clot to his lungs. He was 44 years old. At age 19, he joined the Army for 8 years. At his funeral, his coffin was draped with our beautiful American flag. As I laid my hand on it, I vowed never to forget his service to his country, his family, and his community. Kenny was raised on 5th Street. All of our butterfly projects are done in honor of him. We have gifted the BNC community with 80 food boxes, 48 gift bags, and fresh produce, and a whole lot of cookies. We continue to turn in violations. 2 months ago, 2 violations were turned in, and they remain out of compliance. And let's not forget the horrible banned trailer park. In the Avenue B and C Colonia, we are determined to eradicate the gangs, drug dealers, graffiti, slum and blight, and slumlords. Because with God, all things are possible. So we will serve our neighborhood by giving them a clean and safe environment, just like the Board of Supervisors promised in their mission statement. Yuma County government is dedicated to providing customer-focused services to enhance the health, safety, and well-being of the future of our entire community. Proverbs 16:7, when a man's ways please the Lord, his enemies will be at peace with him. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gail. Anybody else from the public that wishes to address the board? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and bring it back to the board. Presentations, proclamations, and appointments. Any appointments?
No.
And item number 1, we do have a chairman proclaims November 20, 23/2024 to be Adoption Day in Yuma County. And we have.
Yes.
Commissioner Atkinson.
Proclamation proclaiming November 23rd, 2024 as Adoption Day in Yuma County. Whereas there are currently 1,705 children in Arizona's foster care system awaiting to be adopted. And whereas in Yuma County, there are approximately 149 children currently in foster care, and 10 are waiting for permanent families. And whereas foster care is designed to be temporary, yet the average time a child waits for an adoptive family is approximately 30 months. And whereas National Adoption Day is a collective national effort to find permanent, loving families for children in foster care. And whereas on Saturday, November 23rd, 2024, National Adoption Day shall be celebrated in all 50 states, offering children the opportunity to live with permanent, stable, and loving families. Therefore, the Yuma County Board of Supervisors proclaim the day of November 23rd, 2024 to be Adoption Day in Yuma County. During this time, adoptions will be finalized for children at the Yuma County Juvenile Justice Center. I urge all residents to join in local, state, and national efforts to raise awareness about the importance of becoming a foster parent and to consider becoming an adoptive parent during November and throughout the year.
Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome.
And we have Juvenile Court Director Edward Gilligan here. Say a few words or?
I thank the board for recognizing National Adoption Day, supporting the efforts, and certainly the public and all others here in Yuma County are welcome to join us at the juvenile court and recognize those families that are adopting on the 23rd, and please support the effort throughout the year. Thank you all on the board.
Thank you.
Proclamation.
Yeah.
The proclamation.
It wants to be next to the wall, got the wallet.
All right, 1, 2, 3, everybody look at me. Thank you.
I feel short.
Thank you.
You gotta do it.
And then keep going. Moving on to item number 2, Chairman proclaims November 4 to 11, 2024 to be Operation Green Light for Veterans Week in Yuma County. We have Mr. Simmons to.
Proclaiming the week of November 4th through the 11th as Operation Green Light for Veterans Week. Whereas the residents of Yuma County have great respect, admiration, and the utmost gratitude for all the men and women who have selflessly served our country and this community in the armed forces, and whereas the contributions and sacrifices of those who served in the armed forces have been vital in maintaining the freedoms and the way of life enjoyed by our citizens, and whereas Yuma County seeks to honor individuals who have made countless sacrifices for freedom by placing themselves in harm's way for the good of all, and whereas veterans continue to serve our community in the American Legion, Veterans of Foreign Wars, religious groups, and civil service, and whereas the National Association of Counties encourages all counties, parishes, and boroughs to recognize Operation Green Light for veterans, and whereas Yuma County appreciates the sacrifices of our United States military personnel and believes specific recognition should be granted, And whereas Yuma County will light its buildings green to recognize the importance of honoring all those who have made immeasurable sacrifices to preserve freedom. Therefore, the Yuma County Board of Supervisors proclaim the week of November 4th through the 11th, 2024 to be Operation Greenlight for Veterans Week. And I just wanted to add this Thursday at Foothills Community Park, we will be doing a Gold Star dedication memorial. So I want to invite everybody out for that if you can make it at 10 o'clock.
And I do know that we have some veterans here that, or any veteran that's here present, we can come up and we'll hand them the proclamation and take a picture. So if any veteran that's here can come up, special thanks to all those who have served and them that are here.
Way down.
Doesn't fit in the picture, huh?
What, you want to shake my
All right, I'm gonna organize you guys, and then you just put in this picture. We're sideways.
From that point on,
Woo. Good know, Supervisor. I know. All right, everybody look at me. 1, 2, 3. Actually, done real nice. Thank you.
so you can get it out there.
It's coming.
Yeah.
My guard, so I don't fall off, it's coming apart.
We'll move on to item number 3. Report by Crystal Mendoza, Director of the Arizona Western College Small Business Development Center, regarding the fiscal year 2023-2024 SBDC activities. Crystal, welcome. Morning.
Good morning, Chairman. Good morning, Vice Chairman and Supervisors. Thank you so much for having me here today. Once again, my name is Crystal Mendoza. I am the Director of the Small Business Development Center at Arizona Western's Entrepreneurial College. And so my visit for today and presentation is to highlight the accomplishments of everything that's happened in the last year, thanks to your support. So it is an honor to be here with you today. My presentation is picture heavy so that we can highlight some of our accomplishments. Who we are. We are a center that supports entrepreneurs within Yuma and La Paz County. We help entrepreneurs in any stage of development. Our main offering is one-on-one, no-cost counseling sessions. In addition to training as well as resources such as business planning. We have 10 centers within the state of Arizona. For our open counseling sessions, because we service such a vast area of over 10,000 square miles between Yuma and La Paz County, we do have business counselors that are available in all the municipalities that we're currently servicing. From the last time that I was here presenting, our new addition is the AWC Quartzsite Campus quarterly visit. And this is a highlight that I'm really excited to share with each and every one of you, the economic impact, the changes that we've been making within our community. In total, we have been able to support over 1,700 clients, entrepreneurs within our area. In addition, we created over $3.2 million in capital formation. Thank you. So that's any time that our entrepreneurs have been able to reinvest into their business. That means money's coming back into our community, or they've been able to obtain a loan. So that's over $3.2 million. We created 116 full-time jobs as well as retained 96 full-time jobs thanks to our assistance to our entrepreneurs. In addition, we started 39 brand new businesses. Thank you, Supervisor. That means anytime we took an entrepreneur from a pre-venture status to a legal entity servicing our community. In addition, we increased sales by over $3.8 million within the clients that we serviced. And just so that you can kind of see a small comparison, in the previous years, our data for how many clients we supported, let me find my notes really quick. We went from, in 2022, supporting 542 clients, to 2023, 1,328 clients, to now 1,700 clients. So thank you so much for your support. For 2024, this is a quick highlight of the workshops we provided throughout our community. We provided over 50 workshops. They range from no cost to minimal cost. We are trying to find a happy medium. We're charging between $15, $20 just to make sure that our clients have skin in the game and they attend our educational workshops. One of our biggest success right now is a beneficial ownership information, just so that you can kind of see that difference is we could potentially have a third party that's providing that service to our clients, and they'll charge $149 to do a BOI requirement for them. That's a requirement that's going to take place as of next year, which means our small businesses, our LLCs, so proprietors have to go in and submit a requirement through FinCEN. And so through FinCEN, it's an application that literally takes between 5 to 10 minutes, but there's third parties that are charging $150, which my program can support that at no cost. Same thing with the LLCs. We're saving our clients thousands of dollars. Our resource fairs. During National Small Business Week, we held two resource fairs, one in San Luis, Arizona, in partnership with the city of San Luis, and one here in the city of Yuma in partnership with the city of Yuma. We had a lot of different entities, federal, local, and state, to be able to support our small businesses, our entrepreneurs. So that was a great success. In addition, we held a variety of different topics. One of the partnerships that we also have is with Arizona Commerce Authority, Financing Your Dreams. We're providing that workshop in Spanish in the city of San Luis, as well as online and in Parker. And I'm very excited to share that last year we were selected by American Express as a 2023 American Express Neighborhood Champion. For the second year in a row, we have been selected as well, where we will be celebrating, reminding the community of the importance of shopping local. So this is a really nice campaign that we have for this year. What we're doing is we're asking community leaders to record a 1-minute recording to put on our social media to remind the community of the importance of shopping local, highlighting some of your favorite spots, and then, of course, highlighting some of our clients, some of our small businesses. Collaboration with the Greater Yuma Economic Development. There it goes. My center is, I like it to now be known as a one-stop shop for entrepreneurs. So no matter what industry we're in, an entrepreneur can come to us and we're able to support them, make the connection for them with any other entities or resources that are available. One of the things that we're working on is the national crisis of childcare. And so this last year, what we did was we partnered with several different entities, collaboration with GYDC, where we hosted 2 resource fairs for entrepreneurs within that industry, so they can come in, obtain additional information, so that together we can tackle that crisis. And then we have a video. I'm not sure. Are we able to play that video, or do I just click next? Oh, there it goes.
Oh, sound.
So this is, we're working very closely with Arizona Western's marketing team. This is one of our small businesses within the childcare industry, Famanias Childcare. She's in the city of San Luis, and she's just sharing some information regarding how she's worked with SBDC. 2024 Moonshot Pitch Competition. So this is a pitch competition that we brought into Yuma for the second time in the year, second time consecutively. And so what happens within this particular competition is we invite entrepreneurs from our community to come in to 4 different workshops. We develop a mini business plan, a 5-minute pitch presentation to include financials to present in front of the community. What I'm really proud of in regards to this particular event is that we were able to take it the first year. It was an intimate event where we had only friends, family, a few lenders from the community. But this last year for 2024, not only did we have over 100 community members, we had Arizona State representatives, mayors, council members, board of supervisors that were able to come and attend this particular event. The main goal for this event is not only to be able to help our entrepreneurs develop a mini pitch presentation, but provide them exposure to the community so the community knows the products or services that they are providing. We also partner very closely with the Mexican consulate. Routinely, we are teaching Mexican women that are here to be able to open their business. So we also take them through workshops so they can open up their businesses within our area. For ribbon cuttings. Within our clients, our goal is not only to help them open up their business and succeed, but also to celebrating great achievements, which is their ribbon cuttings, anniversaries. But it's not only about the celebration, it's about obtaining exposure. So what we do is we provide them a marketing strategy as we celebrate these ribbon cuttings. So for this particular year, what I'm doing is I'm adding community leaders to come in and help us support our entrepreneurs, take pictures as we celebrate their success. So I invite each and every one of you to start coming and celebrating with us. So we'll start sending emails to Alejandro, and then he can push them over to you guys for invites. So please join us when you're available. Google partnership. We've established a Google partnership where we've provided several marketing workshops, both in English and in Spanish, all the way from San Luis, our center here at the Reskilling and Technology, as well as Parker. And for this year, I was very excited. So America's SBDC holds an annual conference where staff can attend a one whole week full of workshops so that we can learn new things that we can come back with for our entrepreneurs to share with. So this year I was able to take my entire team and they learned a variety of different topics to include the very popular AI so we can help our entrepreneurs. And for 2025, these are our upcoming topics. We do have a lot of initiatives going on. One of the biggest ones would be Dream Builder. We just received a grant with Arizona Commerce Authority to provide 3 different cohorts, a business planning application where Dream Builder, it's both in English and in Spanish, and it gives a little novela so that people can go in, the entrepreneurs can develop their business plan in preparation for a pitch and be able to obtain lending if needed. And then to close off my presentation, I have 2 clients that I would like to introduce to share their experience with SBDC. So I have both Francisca Gabriela Torres, owner of Gabby's Childcare, as well as Luis Gandaras, owner of Gandaras Tire. Are you guys here? I'd like to invite you. Yeah, come on up.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Gabriela Torres. I am owner for Gabby's Family Childcare. I am a GS provider for more than 16 years. And I'm very, very appreciative of the help that SBDC bring me to me. And in these couple months that I'm trying to grow out my business to a center. And I'm very, very appreciative of all the opportunities that they show me that exist in here in Yuma, and I don't have idea. Yeah, it's very interesting, and it's very grateful for me and for my families. And I want to see extra mention. I'm sorry.
That's how I get. That's how come I have a napkin.
That's okay. I just want to say an extra mention for the families. The families that are in my daycare. And after my daycare, they apply for childcare service. And they only receive a stay and wait list. I asked when someone in Phoenix and Tucson, and they say the wait list for this family is around 6 to a year. It's long. And I'm very sad because I am at my house. It's not only a childcare. I tell the families we are family. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we have to do like, I don't know, therapists, because they come to us and they tell us all the problems they are crossing. And always they are asking for help. Sometimes this family have to lose the opportunity to get a job. It's sad. I'm sorry.
But the kids that you do, the families that you do help and the kids that
Yes,
come to
I'm
you
trying to
are
help the families.
so
Always,
fortunate.
when they have more than 1 or 2 kids, I give a discount. Or sometimes they need a ride for the job or something. I say, don't worry, I'm waiting for you. But it's sad. It's hard for these families.
Thank you very much for providing those services, and I
Thank you. Is
appreciate.
that your daughter?
USPDC. Yeah, she's my daughter.
Uh-huh. Thank you.
Thank you for providing those services, and thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
Hello, good morning. My name is Luis. Me and my father are the owners of Banderas Tire Shop. We're actually down the street on 4th Avenue. And we really appreciate the Small Business Development Center because they've, like Gabby mentioned right now, they really opened our eyes to a lot of information that we weren't aware of. I think this last year that we've been working with the SBDC, we've grown a lot. Where they made our company into an LLC. We started with the SAM government contracting. We're trying to see if we can get a contract with the Border Patrol as of right now. So that's pretty cool to install tires and do mechanic work. And they just do an amazing job. Anything you need from taxes, employment, they answer any question and they're there for you at any time. So it feels really good to have that pit stop of you can just go with them and any questions or any help that you need. It's nice to know that they're there and they have your back. So
That's cool.
yeah.
That's good.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you for.
Congratulations.
Thank you, supervisors. There are only 2 of our clients, of our stories. We are the pit stop, the one-stop shop. We've made ourselves known that way. We work very closely. We have a lot of partnerships within the community so that we can be a go-to resource for all of our clients. So I thank you for your financial support because not only are we starting businesses, creating jobs, but ultimately changing the lives of our community. So thank you so much for all your support. Any questions?
Any questions for Crystal?
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you again for providing that help to them, and I know many businesses, and when I started a business, I wish I would have had someone there to just help me out like this, but it's nice to have someone there and guide them. Thank you again.
Well, thank you. It's our honor. We understand that entrepreneurs have to wear a lot of hats, so it is pretty challenging, tricky to be able to know everything. So thank you for your kind words. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Crystal. Moving on to item number 4, presentation of the Yuma County Quarterly Safety Excellence Award.
Morning, Chairman Porteous, members of the board, Ian McGahey, County Administrator. At Yuma County, as you know, safety is a priority. The success of Yuma County and Superior Courts is a result of the dedication and innovative spirit that our valued team members deliver day in and day out. And to honor those who consistently champion safety in the workplace, Yuma County established the Safety Excellence Award. So as you know, any employee can nominate a colleague for this prestigious recognition. Nominations are screened by the Safety Committee to ensure eligibility, and then a winner is selected. Nominees are celebrated in our U-Count newsletter and presented with a certificate of achievement and a goodie bag. The winner of the Safety Excellence Award also receives an Arctic tumbler and a check for $100. The winners of each quarterly Safety Excellence Award are submitted for consideration for the annual Safety Excellence Award, in which the winner receives $250. So I'd like to welcome Enterprise Risk Administrative Director Robin Stallworth-Paquette to the podium to introduce this quarter's nominees.
Hi.
Good morning. Thank you, Chairman Porteous, members of the board. Robin Stallworth-Paquette, Enterprise Risk Administrative Director. Today, we have the privilege of acknowledging 5 employees who have been nominated for their dedication to safety from July to September. A big thank you to the people that submitted nominations. Each of those nominations contributes to our safety culture overall. First up, we have Public Works. Samuel Deckard solid waste technician, and Esteban Paredes, solid waste technician. On September 11th, Esteban was compacting a bin at the North Gila transfer site. He noticed smoke rising from it, and recognizing the urgency of the situation, he quickly alerted Samuel Deckard, who promptly fetched a water truck. Meanwhile, a former employee used a front loader to move the container away from the wall. Samuel then doused the bin with water, successfully extinguishing the fire with minimal damage. Afterward, Esteban and Samuel removed the bin from the site, emptied its contents in an effort to determine the cause of the fire. Though they ultimately were not able to identify the source, their swift actions not only prevented significant damage to the bin and surrounding property, but also ensured the safety of community members who were present unloading trash at the time. Next up, the Health Department. Barbara Diaz, Health Administrative Coordinator. Barbara has been instrumental in developing building safety manuals and policies for the Health District. Her extensive knowledge of county safety protocols makes her an exceptionally vigilant employee. She notices everything, and she's proactive about safety, promptly reporting issues like raised carpets to facilities to prevent falls and ensuring that preventative measures have been taken. As a safety compliance officer, she actively educates staff on safety practices and county policies. Her dedication and attention to detail make her a deserving candidate for the Safety Excellence Award. Next up, we have facilities management. Seth Cumming is an HVAC mechanic. Seth researched installing an air scrubbers in the HVAC systems of buildings A and C to improve air quality and reduce the spread of illnesses and allergens by targeting viruses and bacteria. This initiative aims to minimize sickness-related absences, contributing to a healthier workforce while protecting facilities management personnel and visitors. It also helps prevent operational disruptions, leading to cost savings and increasing productivity due to absenteeism. Seth consistently exemplifies safety principles by leading through example, actively promoting safe practices in the workplace, and being committed to safety is evident in his daily actions. Strictly adhering to protocols, maintaining equipment, promptly addressing hazards, he encourages colleagues to adopt this mindset of prioritizing safety by sharing tips, offering guidance, and fostering a culture of accountability. Finally, we have the Public Defender's Office. Miguel Mike Sanchez is an investigator and mitigation specialist with that office. Since taking over as safety officer, Mike has implemented several important safety measures, including a fire drill roll call sheet and the installation of a ventilation fan in the women's restroom of their building. He keeps the office informed of safety concerns, frequently emailing staff to enhance awareness of proper procedures. He's the go-to person for safety-related assistance and demonstrates excellent leadership. Thriving under pressure, Mike also posts safety policies and roll call sheets in prominent locations to encourage everyone be familiar with those protocols, and he goes above and beyond to ensure that all of the office members feel safe and secure. If the nominees present this morning could come up here with Erica Lopez. Erica Lopez, our risk management coordinator, is here with us today, and as you might notice, Carlos Marquez usually does this. He's assisting elections today.
Oh.
We have Samuel Deckard, Seth Cumming, and Mike Sanchez.
Thank you. Thank you.
With such exceptional nominees, choosing a winner has been a challenging task for the Safety Committee. However, after careful consideration, I'm delighted to announce the recipient of the Safety Excellence Award for the third quarter of 2024. Please join me in congratulating Seth Cumming.
For a second there, I thought it was a tie. It's tough to choose, huh?
Can I get all of you to stand here with the board, and then we'll move on with the winner?
We'll stand up.
Oops, sorry, I'm going to get in the middle.
Okay.
Come on over here.
Over here, Lynn. Move the chair back.
I'm so small. There we go. Okay, nobody can't see me. Okay.
I cannot see you.
I see, I can see you now.
Got a
You,
shot,
and
bomb
then I'll
shot.
have the winner, and then can the board come down?
Oh.
Yes.
Please, thank you so much.
Bye.
You know what to do, right?
You're surrounded now.
One, two, three.
Congratulations.
That's how she thought. Where's the check? It's in the middle.
It's like walking through a maze.
It's amazing.
Every time.
I know.
Congratulations again to all the Yuma County Quarterly Safety participants. So we'll move on to item number 5, presentation of the mix with Yuma County by Yuma 77, the Yuma County Government Channel.
Welcome to The Mix. Arizona Western College held a ribbon-cutting ceremony for its upgraded Law Enforcement Training Academy, now a full-time program. Since 1985, the Academy has served local agencies like the Yuma, San Luis, and AWC Police Departments and the County Sheriff's Office. The new facility features 4 classrooms, defensive tactic rooms, and dorms for recruits.
You know, after 2.5 years of working with the Board of Supervisors, Sheriff's Office, and all our local agencies, you know, we're finally home. We've cut our ribbon to our new facility that's going to serve for many years here in Yuma County for law enforcement, and it's a great day. You know, we've been working out of the clubhouse, we've been working with our minimum stuff, and now we've got a state-of-the-art facility that's passed Arizona Post requirements with flying colors, and it leaves a high mark here in Yuma County for law enforcement and our training center.
With a 22-week curriculum exceeding state standards, AWC aims to graduate 20 to 26 recruits per class, addressing regional needs. Yuma County held its 3rd annual job fair at the main library, offering career and volunteer opportunities across multiple county departments. The event allowed attendees to connect with representatives, explore available roles, and learn about professional development and benefits. Support services including resume assistance and on-site application stations were available to participants. The county emphasized its commitment to developing local talent and expanding employment pathways within the community. Yuma County recently participated in the 8th annual Mayor's Bike Ride, a free, family-friendly tour celebrating the region with stops every 4 to 5 miles along a guided route. Mayors and elected officials from Yuma County, neighboring tribes, regional cities, and San Luis Rio Colorado, Mexico, joined participants offering encouragement along the route. Starting at the Yuma Civic Center, riders stopped at Cocopah Corner, Somerton, Gaston, and San Luis for refreshments. The ride concluded in San Luis Rio Colorado with the Riders Celebration. Now we're going to toss it over to Oscar, who will be giving us a sneak peek at the new Administration Services building, currently under construction.
Okay, Arlene, I am downtown here in Yuma County on Main Street to give you and community members a behind-the-scenes VIP look into our brand new Yuma County Administration Services building. Today with me to give us an inside look is Dave Hillen, who is our Construction Project Director. Hi, Dave, how are you?
I'm good, Oscar. How are you doing?
Good, thank you so much. So this is quite an expansive project. Can you tell me a little bit about what this project is and how it's going to better serve our community?
You bet. Yeah, well, we're super excited about this project for a number of reasons, but primarily is because the fact that any member of the community will be able to come to one location to get the services that they need from the Yuma County. We have about 8 different departments all located under one roof here. So a lot of the features of this first floor are based around our election services departments and their needs. They're all located over here on the west side of the building, the recorder's office as well. And so any of those services for the recording division, the voter services, and the election services are all located here. And then additionally, we have the auditorium that seats about 110 people located in the center part of the main first floor. And then behind that is our communications group as well.
Perfect. As I see, there's ample space, and it looks like it's going to be a space that's equipped for a growing community.
That's it. The whole building was designed to be a 50-year building or more. And so we've built in all kinds of ways to make it flexible and to grow with the community as we grow ourselves.
Thank you so much. So we're here on the first floor. I want to see more. Can we hit the second and third?
Definitely. Let's go on up.
Yeah, thanks. Let's go.
All right. So the main things we have here on the second floor include the treasurer's office, the assessor's office, and the school superintendent office.
Perfect. So, as I navigate the floor, there is no shyness of space. It's very open, which is unusual for a second floor building.
That was really important to us, and working with the architects, we made sure they understood we wanted open space, we want a lot of natural light to just help with the operations of the facility and just make it open and spacious as much as we can.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Shall we check out floor 3?
Absolutely. Let's go.
Let's go check it out. Now on floor 3, tell us what we can expect on this floor.
Up here on the third floor, we're going to find our HR department, our finance department, and then the county administration and board of supervisor offices.
Perfect. So it sounds like this floor is more focused towards internal services.
Primarily, yes.
Perfect. So how many employees are going to be housed in this building?
When we move in, we expect there to be approximately 170 employees in the building with room to grow from there.
That sounds phenomenal. And what a great opportunity for Main Street to get a lot of new customers.
That's right, absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for the grand tour. I can't wait to see when it's completed.
Us too, we're excited.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Okay, Arlene, there you have it, a behind-the-scenes VIP exclusive look into the new Yuma County Administration Services building. We'll see you on the grand opening day.
Thank you, Oscar. Can't wait to be in the new building. It's that time again. Each quarter, we'd like to take a moment to recognize an employee who has gone above and beyond when it comes to safety. Seth Cummings led the initiative to install air scrubbers on an HVAC system, targeting the reduction of airborne viruses, bacteria, and allergens. This proactive measure aimed at safeguarding both personnel and visitors aligns with safety compliance goals and enhances air quality, ultimately reducing health-related absences. Seth's work supports a healthier, more productive workforce, reflecting his commitment to workplace safety and overall well-being across the organization. And that's why Seth is this quarter's Safety Excellence Award winner. Before we go, a few important dates for you to remember. Be sure to remember that Monday, November 11th is Veterans Day. Most of your county offices will be closed as we honor those men and women that have served our nation. Also, Thanksgiving is just a couple of weeks away, and most of your county government offices will be closed on November 28th and 29th, so our employees can enjoy the holiday with their family. Thanks for joining us on this episode of The Mix. If you'd like to watch past episodes, visit our webpage at yumacountyaz.gov under the VOD section. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Arlene. Moving on to consent calendar. The following items listed under the consent agenda will be considered as a group and acted upon by one motion with no separate discussion unless the board member so requests. In that event, the item will be removed from the consent calendar for separate discussion and action.
Chairman, I don't have any items to remove. I'll make a motion that we approve consent items. Which one?
I'm sorry, can I pull number 7, number 9?
Okay, well, then, I'll make a motion we approve consent items 1 through 9 with the exception of 7 and 9.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
There's
Sorry.
a motion and a second to approve consent items 1 through 9 with the exception of
Excuse me.
7 and 9. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Hi.
Lynn.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'm Kelly Fricke, Public Works Director, and I'd like to introduce our Fleet Services Manager, Rob Kane. He's been working on this item, so I'm going to turn the podium over to him so he can answer your questions.
Because you're a veteran, remember?
Yes. So, talking about item 9, the APS, I'm sorry, Rob.
Number 7.
What's that?
Number 7.
Oh, number 7? Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
The,
APS.
APS Fleet Advisory Service. This was an opportunity that was presented to us from APS. We didn't seek it out. It's a free service that's provided to the county from APS. And it's a opportunity to gain information about electric vehicles and the possibility of transition. But it's not something we're planning to transition to. We just thought we'd take advantage of the opportunity to get the data. So we want to make data-driven decisions in fleet. So that's where we're at with this, seeking to enter into this agreement with APS.
Mr. Chairman, my only question was, would it cost the county or the citizens anything in it?
It is a free service provided by APS.
Yeah.
It's just to collect the data on.
I read through it and I couldn't find any dollar signs.
Can you explain the overall approach to the program?
Sure. So they're helping. They're offering this to universities, municipalities, nonprofits, all non-residential type fleets. APS is, and they're providing up to 2 sites where they would look at infrastructure gains, and also they would look at the fleet data and miles traveled, usage reports, and things like that to determine that maybe you can convert these 10, 15, whatever number of vehicles to electric based on your data. So,
thank you.
Any other questions? All right.
Motion to approve item as presented.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve item number 7 as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you.
Number 9 was in the discussion. It's not in the consent. So it's the consent one is the GAP application. But go ahead. Can you explain to us what the GAP funds are used for?
Good morning. Thank you, Supervisor Pancrazzi, Chairman Porteous, members of the board. Fill the Gap is a program that has been in place since the early 2000s that I'm aware. It's utilized to pay for salaries within the Superior Court and the clerk's office to shore up criminal case processing and assist those cases to be moved along in a speedy fashion. It currently pays for 3 positions within that scope, and it is funded by fines and fees that come from a certain formula that is a statutory provision within the ARS.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I move that we approve number 9.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve item number 9 as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to discussion and action items. The board will open each of the following items separately for discussion and action as appropriate. And we'll move on to item number 1. Discussion and action regarding the Office of the County Attorney's legal opinion concerning the purchase of land from the University of Arizona for the cooperative extension. And Ian, you want to do?
Sure, yeah, I can give a brief summary if you like, Chairman.
Please.
On October 28th, the County Attorney's Office issued a legal opinion regarding the county's potential purchase of 2 acres of land from the University of Arizona for the construction of a facility for the University of Arizona Cooperative Extension. In short, the opinion states that the county should not purchase the land from the University of Arizona due to the presence of a reversionary clause on the deed. This clause automatically reverts the property to the United States if the land is not used for, quote, educational or investigational purposes, unquote, as determined by the Secretary of the Interior. The opinion also states that the county does not have the legal authority to use taxpayer funds to construct a facility for the cooperative extension that contains anything other than, quote, reasonable office space, unquote, which means no workrooms, conference room, lab spaces, kitchen facilities, etc. This agenda item allows for discussion and possible action regarding this opinion and/or the purchase of land from the University of Arizona for the cooperative extension.
Thank you, Ian. And you know, I asked for this item on the agenda because I know it's taken a long, quite a while to come to a decision, and that we thought we were on the right track, but I just want to make sure that we do the right thing. So, you know, in concerning if we can purchase that, if not, what can we do? And then also on the reasonable space, what is the reasonable space that for this county, because other counties have their own facilities or that the counties provide, but what's reasonable for this county, that being this county, I mean, our ag it's the biggest economic driver, you know, for this county. So we just want to make sure that we're providing that service, and that the extension is also providing that service to the community. So,
Mr. Chairman, thank you, and we appreciate that as well. This came about because originally we were looking at the purchasing contract, which is actually through the Board of Regents, which owns the property. The cooperative extension is an arm of the Board of Regents and is part of the University of Arizona, and they place these subunits within various counties. And those subunits under Arizona state statute require the Board of Supervisors to do about three things: provide a board, provide reasonable office space, that's in the statute, and if necessary, if the cooperative extension to the Board of Regents wants to allocate a cost to the county for operations within that county, this is the short version of it, provide a tax roll or approve the tax that is required and put it on your rolls for every year. We checked with the treasurer, that's never happened in Yuma County. So this came about though because when we were looking at the contract and a number of things, we were unable to obtain the appraisal, and then we realized in the deed itself that it has a reversionary clause. And that's not unusual when federal government donates land. We have it with our patent with the airport authority, that we can only use that part of that land for certain things, which is how we were able to put the fair facility in that, unfortunately, edge of the flight zone. But we manage it and it works. This one has a reversionary clause already. It doesn't mean you can't purchase it with the reversionary. If you look at the recommendation, it was try to get it, have the Board of Regents have that removed. The appraisal itself did not address the reversionary, which was about $100,000 an acre, which seemed a little high, but I'm not an appraisal. We did talk to an appraiser for the county. By the way, I don't think an appraiser is required to purchase the land from Yuma County. I know an appraisal is required for us to lease our property or sell it, but we can't find it on the other end. So we did have them look at it. He indicated, the appraisal for the Board of Regents, that he didn't think it was going to affect the market value because it was his understanding that the land would be used in perpetually forever by the U of A extension, cooperative extension, which may or may not be true. We don't know. Then he didn't qualify it with the fact that it's not his bailiwick, he's not an attorney, and he's not sure about that. So that's what prompted the opinion itself. Then there was some questions that came about, that have come about in the past as well. We had an opinion back in 2022. We didn't dive deep into what it meant to be a reasonable office space. We tried to address that because I know you're getting ready to approve some floor plans. There is one in there that seems like it fits right into statute. So if you were to purchase the land, you could possibly use the one for office space only. And then we looked at some other ideas that are in the recommendation of the opinion that if you choose to try to build the facility that is desired, perhaps we could lease the other portions of it to the cooperative extension under statute. But the issue really comes down to the use of general fund money for non-county services, because the Arizona Cooperative Extension is not a county department or office. We're not trying to put a hold or stop on this. We're trying to help you folks move forward with as best you can with your limited authority under statute.
Mr. Chair and John, doesn't statute say though that we have to provide them with space? You
have to provide them reasonable office space, and therein lies what is reasonable. you know, if it's just office space, but when you have things like labs and there's no definition, so in Arizona law and case law, you give it its plain meaning. The theory is, and what they look at is if the legislator meant to provide more than office space, but it could be open to other facilities or necessary to carry out the function of the cooperative extension, which language was not used. If they meant that, they would have said it, and that's case law says that with the legislation.
Is it in statute or the
So can,
Constitution?
like, do we, the space that we should provide should be based on the amount of employees that are there, or?
That's going to be for you folks to decide for reasonable office space. You can do the needs assessment. I see there was a floor plan in there for like 10,000 square feet of reasonable office space. And if that's what it's used for, I think it fits statute.
Because we did one, huh? Or just, I mean, I think we did.
Yes, sir.
we
There
did
was a
one,
needs
huh?
assessment done by staff internally working with Mr. Engel along with the architect.
And that's always a great way to go, because then your decision's not really arbitrary or capricious. You know, you kind of base it on some, and I think you could base it on future growth.
And just, you know, I know the issue about that clause that we have, or that it has, but I know if we can probably work something out with the Board of Regents and say that, I mean, I think we're always, since we need an extension we're going to have for, I mean, we won't be here. Long, yeah.
Yeah, as long as that
So-
federal grant, those things are in Arizona statute, which derive from the Board of Regents' powers.
And, Mr. Chairman, can you put a clause in the contract if we don't buy the land, if we build it on their land? Put a clause in the contract that states if they ever use it for anything other than the extension, they have to reimburse the county those funds?
Supervisor Simmons, that decision was decided back in 2022. This is that you couldn't build on non-owned county land, so we would have to purchase it. That's where we kind of touched upon reasonable office space as well, but we didn't dive deep in it, so I know there was some confusion on that. Apologize for that. But you can still purchase this land with the reversionary clause in it if you choose. Understand the risk that is associated with it, and also understand it should affect the cost. I'm not going to say I know what it's going to be, but we had a similar piece of land out in the middle of the runway that was owned by the county. We thought it was worth a lot more when the federal government wanted to do a taking and take that land. It turned out it was worth pennies on the dollar, what we thought, because it was the way it was located and the restricted use of it. And this may have a similar thing, which doesn't necessarily affect whether you can purchase it today for $200,000 with a reversionary clause in it. But if you cease to use it for any other purchase, or you decide down the road you want to get rid of it because it's no longer needed, you're going to have to sell it with that reversionary clause, and you're going to need to have an appraisal with the clause restriction within it, which we think will affect the true value of it.
Mr. Chair?
Hold on, let me.
Well, I just wanted to know, what's the status right now with the Board of Regents? Are we looking at, is it a 50-year, 100-year? Can we actually do that? I mean, is it a forever restriction clause?
No, it's a forever. It runs with the land in perpetuity.
Is there a way to convince the regents to make it like 25 years or 50 years?
Are you talking about the purchase?
Talking about the land, yeah.
The land use.
Purchase the land now with the reversionary clause in it. You would own it
I know.
in total, but the clause runs with the land in perpetuity.
It would take an act of the U.S. Congress to remove the reversionary clause.
Yeah.
So it takes an
Well, we suspect. We don't know for sure. But it's been difficult to find information on, for instance, the appraisal itself would not be disclosed to us. They claim some type of a confidentiality clause to it. They eventually did disclose it so we could look at it for a limited period of time in an encrypted type of electronic form that eventually floated away. So this is anything we talk about that is based upon recollection and notes, which I thought was
a little odd.
It is a little odd because it is a public entity and that is a public record. And I would never advise somebody in the county that an appraisal, because it was reviewed by my office, is suddenly attorney-client privileged, because it's not.
It's a public record.
It's a public record. I don't know if I can't find any statutory authority to withhold it. I was happy they at least gave us some limited access to it. And that's when we realized the reversionary clause itself was not included in the appraisal.
A reminder, how many acres are we talking about?
It's 2 acres, 100,000 approximately apiece.
Lynn?
Mr. Chair, John, do you know if the Board of Regents can sell it at less than appraised value?
Assuming they have the same similar statute that we have,
If clause.
that requires it to have an appraisal on it. If we were to sell county land, we'd have to have an appraisal on it. We can only sell within like 10% of that appraisal, give or go. And then there's, I don't know if they have one at state level. They probably do.
If they don't, they could sell it to us for $1, huh?
You know, my problem is that you're recommending the opposite. You're saying you can do it, but your recommendation is not to do it. So that kind of puts us in a situation that's kind of difficult to do because, you know, if you don't follow legal advice, then you end up exposing yourself to.
I mean, that was not our recommendation. Recommendation is you should see if you could get it removed before purchasing.
All right. But if we can't?
If you can, you're better off. Because then you own that land, you own that building. If the extension decides it's no longer fit for them to use it, 50, 20 years, however down the line, the county is free to use that land for whatever purpose it wants, or to sell it if it wants under statute with a fair appraisal. But we don't know what the appraisal value is with the reversionary clause on it because it was not included in the original appraisal. And then there was a letter on the side that said, well, it doesn't really affect it because they're going to use it for that purpose anyways.
No, it does.
Okay, gotcha.
Any other question for John? I think that clarifies and that at least we know what we can do.
What kind of action do you want? Do you want us action to proceed?
This is more, this wasn't something we pulled up.
Already taken action.
We just wanted to kind of lay some more parameters down so you folks knew exactly what to work with.
Yeah.
We'll help you work with them and work with the Board of Regents as well. But to understand there may be some risk associated with purchasing the land with that reversionary clause, either in the true value of it or the use of it as well, or both.
Okay. Russ, have you talked to the Board of Regents, or I know there were scheduled some meetings, but we couldn't get them we weren't going to be able to get it on the agenda when they meet, but.
Right, and I have not talked to the Board of Regents. I've talked to my boss, who is Ed Martin, the Director of Cooperative Extension statewide, and he had talked to Bruce Vaughn, who is our realty specialist for the university, and the last time he talked to him, Bruce Vaughn had mentioned that the county was no longer interested in buying the land. So as far as I know at this point, everything's on hold. So I don't think they've approached the board to put it on an agenda to have the Board of Supervisors approve it.
Well,
or the board.
I mean, I think it's
Regents.
Well, after we've heard, I think it's on track. Again, can you relate that and maybe have try to at least get their perspective and see what we can do there if not.
Contact with that gentleman, we can contact him as well. I don't think that's ever been fully said to him. I think we may have disclosed that we have concerns with that reversionary clause, but again, we can do that, or we can work with Russ on it.
Yeah, or we'll leave it to
Mr. Chairman.
The county attorney.
I just got a question too on if we end up buying the land with the reversionary clause on it, and down the road, U of A moves out, we can still whatever use we have to use that for. It has to be an ag-related use. It doesn't have to be related to the college.
Mr. Chairman, Supervisor Chairman, Supervisor Simmons, I think you can use it for anything that's related to that restrictive use, which I can't quote it, but I think it's more of
Educational and investigational.
Yeah, thank you. So that's kind of, although it is narrow in its scope, you could use it you could put, I guess, an Alita Academy in there.
So we can,
something like that.
So we're not bound to.
You're not bound for that purpose, but we would certainly, if you're going to work with something, you want to make it where the extension can use it for a long period of time and it's usable.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair?
do we any other questions for Russ?
John, no, not for Russ.
Thank you,
John,
Russ.
How do we get the revision off of it? We have to.
I have no idea. I guess I'm hearing an act of Congress. It's because it's a federal grant, and you have to.
They'll find that out. But just to point one thing out, and to the rest of the board is, and I mean, all that land is surrounded with that clause. So in order for them, if the U of A ever wanted to sell that land, they got to go through the same. So if it comes out of all that land, yeah, including.
Yeah, when you have that patchwork, that's what we experienced with the airport authority. We had that little piece of land. It was probably when they built it, they didn't have a runway there, and then they built it over it. They wanted to take, and we thought it was worth. If you looked at acreage in that area all around, it seemed like it was worth, I don't know, 35,000 an acre. It was probably worth 1,500 when all was said.
Because it's surrounded by everything. When you live
over it.
Okay.
So.
Thank you. I just keep asking questions.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, just for my own clarification, just want to make sure that the board's direction maintains to purchase that land from University of Arizona. The ABOR meeting, to my knowledge, is scheduled for March, so we'll stay the course with that. And then in terms of constructing the structure, it sounds like that 10,000 square foot floor plan that was provided meets the definition of reasonable office space. So is that the direction from the board to pursue that particular?
Are we going with the first one? Is it 10 to 12 or what?
The ones that we were provided were 10,000, 12,000, and 15,000. And Dave, I don't know if you want anything to add, but the 10,000 is one that county attorney referenced as meeting the criteria laid out by that.
Russ?
And that's what was because it indicated office space only.
Mm-hmm.
So that's as to approve it, that would be when you approved it was for office space only, which seems to fit the statute in my mind.
Mr. Chair, Russ, what would you prefer?
Well, the one that we provided was 15,000 square feet. And the office space, so if you look at what we have now, we are not asking for anything. We're asking for additional. We've outgrown our space. But what we're asking for is what currently was built and provided for us at the space we're at.
Mm-hmm.
The large conference room, we have a kitchen, and we have a wet lab currently in the facility that was provided us. And I talked to Vicki Steinfeld, who was the director when working with the Board of Supervisors in the Health Department. She had provided the request for having the 150 people conference room. She had provided a request for the kitchen and provided a request for the lab. So those things are absolutely critical to our mission. I mean, we have to have the labs and the teaching, the classrooms, the conference rooms, the teaching facilities, the nutritional education. We needed a kitchen. And what the last thing that we were working on, when we were actively working on like a floor plan, I said, you guys, I'm not asking for you to outfit or provide me a fully outfitted lab. I just need floor space. Just give me the square footage. We'll figure out how to put those labs in there. We'll figure out how to, the conference room, just give me the square footage. We'll put all of the equipment in there, all of the furnishings, all the AV equipment, all that. We're willing to do all of that if you just give us the shell, give us the structure and the utilities to it. We'll provide everything that goes inside of it. So the storage areas, the labs, the conference rooms, the kitchen, all of that was provided to us on, on basically what we asked for when the health department building was built. Vicki Steinfeld actually provided me with some documentation and some papers that she had provided requesting those things when we were put in that.
Given the complicated situation here, I would call it educational space, and that's it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it anything else. I would call it educational office space, and then that's it.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, what you're providing by statute and your own to allocate county funds for, general fund money that is prepaid by taxpayers to provide county services, is to provide, only because statute allows you to do this, and if it didn't, you wouldn't even be able to do this, is reasonable office space. Now, if you choose to build a facility, and we can talk more, that provides a shell of more space, we think you may be able to lease it. But that type of program is provided through the Board of Regents, through the Cooperative Extension, located at the University of Arizona. They make the arrangements, they can do it. You can even put it on your tax rolls to help them pay for it. but he cannot use county funds to build anything beyond a reasonable office space.
So 10,000.
So 15,000 is
If it's for
reasonable
reasonable
office.
office space, I mean, and it's a needs assessment, I think you're okay.
15,000.
If it's for reasonable office space and it's based on a needs assessment, I think you're okay, but I can't.
You got it.
Yeah, thank you for
Well,
that clarification.
Yeah, but I think we can work on that. We did a needs assessment already, so we can work on that and see when.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, Russ. All right. Item number 2.
Did we make a motion on what to do with it?
We didn't need one.
Discussion.
Continue discussion.
Just to clarify, I
Yeah, just to
understand the opinion
clarify.
we're providing, it'll be ongoing to review the facts as they arise. Again, we're just gonna keep the board informed of risks that we see available and of any restrictions on your authority, which is reasonable provision of reasonable office space, and go from there.
Thanks, John. Item number 2, discussion and possible action regarding the Yuma County Public Health Service District Building Expansion Renovation Project at 1228th Street in Yuma and the University of Arizona Cooperative Extension, current space with that building and future planned space for cooperative extension. Now, the only reason I put this on the agenda was because if we can't, we couldn't move on with the extension, then one of the other options was for the extension to stay where it's at. So that would open up or limit the construction on the health department, and we would have to go back and revisit the contract that we have, because it wouldn't be fair to the taxpayers to spend more money that the construction company was not going to do. And that's the only reason. But we had clarification from John, the county attorney's office. So I think this item should just be dismissed, yeah.
And just so I could clarify, Supervisor Porches, the opinion did not require that it either be at one or two locations. It doesn't have, if it doesn't work out where you're looking at, you don't have to use the health department either. I know this facility will be coming free. You'll have other ones, even if it's for a temporary purpose at that time.
And this was just in case we couldn't do something, that if that was going to be one of the options, instead of, because I don't want to continue holding the construction on the health department. So this is, we'll say, well, that was going to be one of the options. So thanks.
You got it.
All right. So we'll move on to item number 3. Discussion and possible action to authorize the use of American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA funds, state and local fiscal recovery funds, SLFRF.
Easy.
For the construction of a domestic violence shelter in San Luis, Arizona, providing up to $500,000.
Were you all waiting for this to happen or something?
They were all here for, Bye, Diana.
Do we have Dan?
Mr. Chairman, I can give you a brief summary if you like.
Go ahead.
June 24th, the Board of Supervisors adopted the budget for fiscal year 24-25, including budget authority to support the acquisition of land and construction of the Proverbs 31 domestic violence shelter in San Luis, Arizona. At the July 1st Board of Supervisors meeting, the board approved using up to $500,000 in general fund revenues for the construction of this shelter. On Friday, October 25th, the county attorney's office issued a legal opinion regarding the financial support of the Proverbs 31 Safe House, stating that the use of general fund monies for this purpose is not authorized under state law. The county attorney's office argues that Arizona law requires an organization to serve an economic development purpose or specifically serve people with disabilities or ages 60 or older. The board initially intended to use American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, funds for this project. However, due to the tight deadlines anticipated with the project and associated with ARPA funding, the board opted to allocate general fund resources instead, made possible by using ARPA funds for revenue replacement in a separate project. So in light of the recent legal opinion, the board may wish to reconsider the funding source for this project. The ARPA state and local fiscal recovery funds, called SLRF, eligible category is currently at capacity with previously selected projects. So should the board decide to revert this project back to ARPA SLRF funding, you'll just need to reassign an existing eligible category project to the ARPA Revenue Loss Fund to open up space within eligible category. So a little bit confusing, but here to straighten it all out for you is Community Planning Administrative Director Diana Velos to explain some options. Essentially, it's you're swapping one project back into ARPA, the Domestic Violence Shelter, and removing one project from ARPA to general fund.
Which project are we looking at?
Or she's
gonna
gonna
explain.
You're getting ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
sorry.
Members of the board, Diana Veloz, Planning Administrative Director. So we're at capacity in our eligible category, which my recommendation would be to move the health department equipment to revenue loss because it's an eligible general fund expense that could be easily moved over. That one's at $690,602. I'm going to come back in December to you all with however money is left in that eligible category. At that time, if we move over the safe house, which is up to $500,000, to eligible category, there's going to be some money left in there, but I have to come back anyways in December so we can reallocate some of that funding.
Okay, so what you're telling us right now is that by December, you will have an option to move that, you will know which fund is available to be moved back into, which this can be moved back into ARPA, and then that could be moved out either out totally or into the general fund. Is that correct?
The health department equipment can be moved to revenue loss ARPA.
Right now.
Okay.
Right now.
With your.
With our approval.
We would have to take, need a motion.
Do we have to make a motion right now?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, just for clarification, the motion is to move the health department equipment from.
Fortunately, the health
ARPA
department people left, so.
Yes.
To move funding for Proverbs 31 to ARPA
Yes,
category.
and we have to have it.
To the revenue loss ARPA.
To the revenue
correct?
loss.
To the revenue loss.
No, the health department equipment gets moved to the revenue loss.
Yes, it gets moved to
And the
ARPA.
funding comes back to ARPA, which means that we gotta quicken it up if we wanna meet all those deadlines. I mean, has that moved at all? Or is it the federal, are we still concerned about the federal pace of land acquisition?
The federal acquisition for land, and that you're taking a risk that they're gonna
Do it quickly enough.
less time than they usually take to buy those two lots, to purchase those two lots. Those two lots as well, you're buying them with federal dollars. If they get sold or any of that happens,
There's gotta be a
same
price.
thing happens.
They gotta follow a procedure, which means to me that whatever Proverbs 31 does, they need to get it out there quickly. Because you now have timelines to meet. Before with the general fund, you could have taken your time. doing it.
December 31st of 2024
Gotta
is when we
commit.
have to obligate, so we have to have a signed contract.
Okay.
We have to expend the funds by December 31st of 2026. This will fall into Davis-Bacon wages and Section 3, so that's another thing to consider.
Well, they're gonna have to raise money for that then.
And probably if it's gonna be Davis Bacon, anyway, probably. It's gonna raise the price of the whole thing by about 30%.
Do they have
Okay,
a
there's a,
Do we have a signed contract yet for those lots?
We do not have a signed contract yet.
so I think that, they're gonna have to, we did our part. I think they need to do their part, and if not, then that money will be turned into something more or something else
And that
that
can
we
be
can
done.
still use. So,
We would lose those funds if they don't meet the deadlines.
but yeah, but I mean, once but the next step is at least to sign that contract, and then, yeah. So, but if.
The processing is gone.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, if you do not have a beneficiary at the end of December 2026, I'm sorry, it's not December 2026, it's
25.
September of 2026, because this is a Title I project that we're moving into. If you do not have a beneficiary by then the money goes away, it has to go back to the government.
So it has to be built and people in it, right?
Yes.
Has to be built and people in it by September 2026. 2026.
At least
Okay.
one domestic violence victim or family, which is, I can tell you from my job, you're gonna have it.
Oh, yeah, they'll have, yeah, they probably have people
Send
right
Tony
now.
there.
Well, I think Maria's here, so they understand now that everything needs to happen really quick. The commitment needs to be made and things need to be
Got
paid.
it? Sign a contract today.
Maria's right here. Yeah,
Okay.
She understands. I hope.
All right. So you have a motion, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. And I didn't mean
Okay.
to hit you.
Yeah, well, I'm
He's been wanting to do that for years.
I've been wanting to do that. I'm gonna let him go. for now.
Thank you, Diana.
Moving on to item number 4. Discussion and possible action to approve the amendments. A, personal rule 417 extended line bank, and B, personal rule 423 telework. We have
Hi, good morning, Chairman Porches, members of the board, Jessica Rodriguez, Chief Human Resources Officer. I'm here to present to you some proposed rule changes that we have been working on in an effort to support this board's expectation that Yuma County become an employer of choice within Yuma County and within the state of Arizona. PR 423, the telework rule, was modified to allow for more flexibility at the department level and to also create more opportunity to accommodate eligible employees and to support an effort to retain and attract some of the most talented folks that we have. PR 417, our EIB policy, which will be changing to ELSP on board's approval, is presented to you today with modifications made to increase the max amount of donations that can be received by an employee up to 480 hours, which aligns with the maximum allowed of FMLA, family medical leave hours, that an employee would be entitled to use. And it also removes a cap on the amount of PTO that can be donated. This rule was originally revised and sent out to county staff to include modifications that allowed employees to first utilize donated leave prior to exhausting all of their accrued leave. And also we wanted to make eligible parental bonding leave non-medical necessary. For example, if someone adopts a child or there's a foster placement, or for parental leave for bonding on the birth of a child. Our current policy did not allow for that. So upon further research and working with the county attorney's office, we discovered that there were IRS regulations that were prohibiting those types of changes. So the rules you see today are presented in the best capacity possible, but as a solution and for something that this board could consider moving forward would be to consider an employer-sponsored leave plan, which would allow for the removal of those restrictions. I plan to present that information to you in December at our long-term planning meeting so that we can look to further enhance the ability to retain and attract county employees and to support them in moments of need while they're on leave. So that is all I have for presentation. I stand for any questions.
I have one question. The 417E, no donation to another employee who is in their chain of supervision. Explain that to me a little bit.
Thank you for asking, Chairman Porches, Supervisor Pancrazi. So we did add that change in to ensure that employees aren't coerced or in any way influenced by a supervisor to donate leave.
Got it. For them.
For the supervisor.
Supervisor.
That's
Thank
correct.
you. I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Any other questions?
any other questions for Jessica?
Mm-mm.
Do you want,
I'll make a motion to approve.
do we want to do?
One at a time?
Well, one at a time or both of them? No, we can do both of them together.
Okay, and B.
Yeah, together, fine, yeah.
So the
Okay, I
motion is
move
to
that
approve both.
we approve personnel rule 417 and Personnel Rule 423.
Second the motion.
There's a motion and a second to approve
Not to strike that. With the clean, okay?
A, Personal Rule 417, and B, Personal Rule 423. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Jessica.
One question, Jessica, when is a clean copy of this will be, when will it be available?
It could be available today. There should be a clean copy attached to the agenda item after the strikeouts at the very end of the attachment. But I'll be sending out a clean draft to, or a clean approved to all of county staff today and tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, board.
As the chairman said, I should have waited until I flipped it off.
Department of Development Service, item number 5, Planning and Zoning Division, discussion and possible action concerning initiating a minor amendment to the 2030 comprehensive
three.
plan to keep Highway 95 as a visual corridor in its original extent, east of Avenue 3E, or incorporate Highway 95 in its entirety into the visual corridors map, or remove US Highway 95 from the visual corridors map.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Javier Barraza, Senior Planner. Presenting this discussion item, as you mentioned, this is a request to discuss and possibly initiate a minor amendment to the 2030 comprehensive plan, either to keep Highway 95 as a visual corridor in its original extent east of Avenue 3E, or incorporate Highway 95 in its entirety into the visual corridors map, or remove US Highway 95 from the visual corridors map.
Mr. Barraza,
Currently, the visual corridor was established in 2010 comprehensive plan. We found a discrepancy in the 2030 comprehensive plan where US Highway 95 was listed as a visual corridor but omitted from the map's legend. We started a minor amendment. Number 24-1 was presented to the Planning and Zoning Commission on March 2024 to correct the issue. The Planning Commission directed staff to update the map, ensuring US Highway 95 in its entirety was going to be shown. And at that presentation, we informed the commission that besides on the underlying zoning district, those properties, a visual corridor, let me explain. A visual corridor is from the center of Highway 95, for instance, for this one, 500 feet to each side, that's the visual corridor. Any property within that distance from the center line of Highway 95, it'll be affected by the visual corridors overlay district, which the highlights of that, it will doesn't allow for industrial uses and it doesn't allow for billboard signs. Also adds more requirements for property fronting that requires a buffer and screening for new buildings. So when the commission found out about these other requirements on besides the one for the zoning district those properties lie in, so they decided to direct the staff to do some more outreach to inform all these new properties. Right now, there's an existing one, so with this staff informed from Avenue 3E to the west to all the way down to the border with Mexico to inform all these property owners that if this takes place, this property is going to be affected with the visual corridor overlay district. We mailed 491 letters within 500 feet of US Highway 95 and contact also local sign companies. We received the following feedback. We received 8 objections from residents and 3 objections from sign companies and 1 stakeholder. We received 4 neutral responses and 21 plus phone inquiries, 1 support, 17 clarifications, 3 in opposition. We're still receiving phone calls just to find out what was this about. The local sign industry raised concerns about the ban of off-site signs in the visual corridor overlay district, citing business impacts. US Highway 95 is not a scenic corridor per Arizona Department of Transportation, unlike Maricopa and Pima counties, which did restrict billboard signs in scenic corridors, which is. Staff sought guidance from the Planning Commission on September 24, and on how to proceed, the Planning Commission were presented the following options, which were mentioned before, and the Planning Commission recommends to the board to take number 3, which is to initiate an amendment to the 2030 comprehensive plan to remove US Highway 95 from the roads that are designated as visual corridors on page 165 of the Visual Comprehensive Plan and remove US Highway 95 from map 6, visual corridors. However, the board has the following options to entertain, and that concludes staff's presentation.
Go ahead.
Look, my experience with that, with this, is that people do not understand what we're talking about. They think that a visual corridor is something else, and that it's got a lot of restrictions, which it does have some restrictions, but it's not an overall, restrictive situation, especially because the original one only has it from 3 hour upwards. So in essence, most of where people are living right now, it's not really affected by the visual corridor, unless we make it all a visual corridor, which I wouldn't. I mean, San Luis is still on the floodplain, according to the plans of the county. So, I mean, the eastern part of San Luis is not a floodplain, or it doesn't have creeks running through it or things like that. But anyway, I would support the original one, which is to actually remove it all.
Yes.
It's just confusing. It's not really, we're not getting anything out of it. All we're getting is complaints and people confused about it, especially if we extend it.
Mr. Chair, I move that we adopt option number 3 and take it out of it.
Which is the Planning and City Commission recommended.
I'll second that.
Yeah.
It's confusing. People do.
There's a motion and a second to.
Mr. Chairman, I think we need to open it to the public. See
Yeah,
how the
yeah.
folks-
Oh, well, we didn't open it to.
One of those, I don't know.
Well,
Is that a public?
I'm Brandy Wright.
Oh, you want to get? I'll open it.
I'll remind you that if you quit while you're ahead.
I'm
There's a
good.
motion
I was
and a
just
second
gonna
to
say
remove
thank
it.
you. It's going very well. So,
Thank you, Brandy. I talked to
That's
you
all I'll
via
say.
email. Okay.
I always quit while you're ahead.
Anybody else from the public? We'll bring it back to the board. And there is a motion and a
Approve the
second
recommendation.
to approve the recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
We'll keep Yuma
Thank you.
County rural as long as we can.
Moving on to Board of Equalization discussion calendar, sitting as the Yuma County. I'll go ahead and recess the Board of Supervisors and convene as the Yuma County Board of Equalization. And
This is where they bring the additional
the Yuma
information.
County Board of Equalization, the board will open each of the following items separately for discussion and action as appropriate. Item number 1, action regarding petition for review of real property evaluation for Christopher Thompson, assessed parcel number 664-44-001, located by Avenue B and 20th Street, Yuma, Arizona, filed by Christopher Thompson. Continue from the meeting. Assessors.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Tony Holzer. I'm the Chief Deputy Assessor. I wasn't quite sure how you guys wanted to, because you heard part of this 2 weeks ago in your meeting. Do we pick up from that point? Do you want to hear everything all over again?
Were you able to work something out with the
Landowner?
Landowner? No, sir, we
No.
weren't.
All right, so.
Let's continue. I mean, you were supposed to bring in some additional information. If I remember correctly, my opposition to it was because the legal people actually said we didn't have anything to say about it. So I'm saying, okay, do we or don't we, as a Board of Equalization, have the authority to make changes? Because that's what I thought we had, authority to make changes. Now, we wanted to base them on facts, so we wanted to hear from you guys again. There's appraisals, there's valuations, there's all things that come up. And I understand that, but the problem that we had is we wanted to make some changes. We wanted to make some changes and be based on something. And we wanted to hear from you why we couldn't do it. So explain to us why we couldn't do it.
I don't have any reasons why you can't do it. But I will say this, the only thing that can be reduced is the full cash value. Statutorily, you can't protest your taxes, which means you can't protest your limited property value. So there's 3 ways that the limited property value gets adjusted. That's through Proposition 117 that was passed back in 2012, where LPV can go up 5% a year automatically. The second way is through substantial changes to the property, where you create a new a parcel, or you do a lot of adding on to your house or something along those lines, substantial changes will require a adjustment of the limited property value. And the last way is the full cash value has to be lowered below the LPV. And in this case, we have our value on this property. Let me start back a little bit further. In latter part of 2023, we did an extensive land value study on commercial parcels. We found that we were very low in that area. In fact, our study went up and down Avenue B and all of the major arteries in that area. In the subject's area, we found that acreage lots should be valued at $135,000 an acre. On lots less than an acre, the value on those should have been brought up to $6 a square foot. So we valued everything in and around this subject parcel accordingly for 2025. Our valuation was concluded in latter 23. By that point, everything had been noticed for 24. So we followed up with instituting the new values in 2025. The subject parcel was actually purchased for
296 something.
Not exactly.
136.
It was purchased, the subject parcel was purchased for $237,965.
There you go.
We've got a full cash value on it of $56,700, considerably lower than what the price paid was, considerably lower than our $6 a square foot that we've figured out is the market in that area. We've got it at $3.10 a square foot, almost half of what the market value is, because of some restrictions on the property. When that property was created, it was created by deed, split by deed. A split by deed is official as far as ownership goes, but it's not in compliance with the city's plat process. It didn't go through the city's process whereby an architect draws out the plat, it runs through the city review process, comes to us for a split. What came to us for the split was just the deed, and we split it because ownership had changed. So those restrictions on the parcel warrant a reduction in value, but we've already applied that. Those restrictions amount to the fact that parcel will not be allowed to be developed until it goes through a proper plat process. Exactly. So what we've got on this is a $56,700 full cash value, a limited property value that was determined by market, which at this point is 61.34% of the full cash. Everybody in there is treated the same that way, recognizing that it's going to take the owner some time in order to be able to develop this parcel. Our value of $56,700 gets locked in for 2 years. So it would be for tax years 25 and 26, giving the property owner ample time to straighten out the platting process so that it complies with city requirements. So at this point, you can change the LPV, but you're going to have to drop that full cash value below what we've got it on. And at this point, as you can tell by the numbers, we are somewhere around 30% of what the true market value is.
Can we get back to that one there? You know what I'm surprised when I look at that and I look at the full cash value of, say, parcel 66444-013, and it's $779,422 as full cash value. Then you have the limited value at $779,422. What's the relationship between the full cash value and the limited property value? What percentage of it is it? When do you adjust it? How do you adjust it?
The limited property value, the ratio, its statute requires a ratio. Every January, we figure out what the ratio will be for the next valuation year. In 25, the ratio was determined to be 0.6134 or 61.34%. Now, some parcels aren't affected by the adjustment in LPV. The LPV is adjusted to bring new construction up to market, vacant, brand new parcels that are being created, those kinds of things. If that parcel had sat there and nothing was ever done to it, it wouldn't be at the LPV ratio that it's at. And because the LPV would have only been affected by Prop 117, which allows the increase of 5% every year until it hits full cash in there somewhere, and then the increase stopped. So I don't know if Supervisor Reyes, I don't know if I answered your question, but you can work the math. 664-44008 is the new car wash that Pat Connors built.
Right.
It was set up under the same guidelines, the same statutory assessment process that this property was. When there's a split, we will allocate value, meaning that if I have a parcel, let's say it's worth $100,000, I split it in two, each parcel gets $50,000. We just allocate it, and we allocate the full cash, and we also allocate the LPV. Just split it down the middle in those cases. That was the process that was done on the subject parcel. The first year in 24, it was an allocation. In the second year, it gets revalued to market, and that's what the supplemental notice showed the property owner, which is what has brought us here today. At this point, I feel confident enough in the 56.7 being discounted well enough to offset these restrictions that are on the parcel for now. Like I said, the property owner gets locked in for 2 years. That gives them time to get rid of the restrictions so that parcel is fully developable. And we go on in 26, 25, 26, so in 27, it would be revalued again at that time to see if the restrictions have been removed, great. If not, chances are the value is still going to be discounted because those restrictions are still in place. But I know just from the purchase price that the property owner plans on developing this. He wouldn't have paid $237,965 for it if he didn't see the potential in it. And so all of these restrictions will be removed at some point. So we're trying to allow him a market consideration here that right now it's not worth totally market value in there, and we're comfortable with the $57,600, which, as you can see, is about 25% of his purchase price, or a little less, a little more than that. I don't have my calculator. So I'm feeling like the assessor's office has done their due diligence here by updating the land values in that entire area, applying the proper LPV ratio, applying the allocation according to statutory split process, locking this in, if this is approved, locking this in for 2 years allows the property owner time to get rid of the restrictions and get that site replatted so that they can build on it and start developing it.
Any questions for Tony? Or all right, Tony, thanks.
Thank you, Tony.
Chris?
Good morning, Mr. Porches and members of the board. We don't disagree that I'm speaking for myself as well as Mr. Hale, who's traveling. He spoke for me last time because I was traveling.
Yes.
We need to coordinate our calendar.
Excuse me, can we talk about both of these issues at the same time? So we can make
I didn't open it.
Can we open the other one?
Can we open the other one too?
We open the other one, so we can make it.
664-44011.
that okay?
That, can I?
Or in the Board of Equalization, we can't? That's fine with us.
You open them up, just make sure you rule on them separately.
Okay. Okay, I'll go ahead and open item number 2.
Just for purposes of discussion, open, it'd probably be easier to open both up, but when you just make a decision, do them separately.
Do them separately.
From the viewpoint of the assessor's office, these two are under the identical same situation. Except the restrictions on the Thompson piece.
Okay. Thank you, Tony.
Correct. And as was expressed, yes, our plan is to develop these properties. We wouldn't pay these premiums if we weren't planning on developing it. Myself and Mr. Hale, simply, our argument isn't really against how the values were assessed, nor how the plan is for locking them in and all that was shared. We don't disagree with any of that. Our argument is simply that it's premature. The use of the property, nothing, let me go here. It's just too early. Until it's developed, we argue that the increased value should not be applied. Nothing that generates additional use or revenues on the properties. They remain vacant. They'll remain vacant for at least the next year as the development happens. Plans are in the works to split the lot and everything that is needed to be done. Create a lot split, develop shared parking, shared retention, shared utilities. All of that is in the works. Those plans are probably a month out. And then they'll be submitted to City of Yuma to get this development ball rolling. Construction will take a year or more to get the Thompson parcel developed. The Hale parcel will follow probably a year or two after that, simply because it's a larger development, larger investment. So nothing, the property has not undergone any material improvements other than cutting the weeds down. There's no driveways, there's no additional utilities, nothing that generates any use, nothing that's put any additional burdens on county resources, traffic, anything of that nature. Nothing that warrants a property tax increase beyond, in our opinion, the standard annual increase for this year. We just believe the increase is premature. There's no revenue generated here to pay the additional taxes than what was paid last year. The condition of the property hasn't changed. So our argument, Mr. Hale and I, is simply that that it's premature. Lot split was not recorded. It was simply a deed was done in order to facilitate the sale, to meet some 1031 exchange criteria. That's all that's been done. So an imaginary line has been drawn across the property, and that's it. So our feeling is that although we understand that a lot split will trigger a reassessment, that development will trigger a reassessment, it's our opinion this hasn't happened yet, and so therefore the increase should not happen yet.
Other than the 5% that it would have gone.
Correct, and in our response we both agreed that that's reasonable, that's expected, that's what we signed up for when we bought the parcels. So we're not contesting an increase, we're just contesting that this particular significant increase, yes, it's valued lower. My parcel's very small, so I understand it's not a huge impact. Mr. Hale's parcel's large, and so if he's not planning on developing that for 3 years, or those 2 years that it's quote unquote locked in to this lower rate, it's still a significant rate increase from what he was paying last year with zero change in the property. So simply our argument is that the annual standard increase makes some sense. The treating it as if it were developed or to be developed, and yes, it will be developed, but should it not be developed, or things delay, or things don't happen, or property values decrease, we don't benefit from that.
We have a recession, any of that.
So we're chasing all of those potentials. So our argument is the property hasn't changed, so we're questioning why our property taxes are changing so significantly.
Question from legal. From what I read here, the recommended motion is either to uphold the assessor's decision or reconsider the valuation of real property. As we further discussed, as Tony further discussed, reconsidering the property value. It's something that is arbitrary in nature because we wouldn't know until something happens, until the evaluation happens. Is there another option that we have?
I don't mean to interrupt, but one thing, the point I want to try to get across.
Tony, can you come up more to the?
Okay, Chris.
The point that I'm trying to get across is it doesn't matter if or when this parcel gets developed. It was appraised as vacant land based on its commercial potential. That goes for all of the vacant parcels in there, not just this one, not just Mr. Hales, but all of them in there. And if we had a bigger map, I could probably even show you parcels up and down Avenue B that the same thing was done. It was a revaluation, which we were really behind on doing. We had those commercial lots in there valued at $46,000 an acre when they should be $135,000 an acre. We have to make a move at some point. And so at this point, that's all we've done. Now, the split is what triggered the other parts of this problem. Yes, in 25, the full cash value would have went up on these parcels to the market value, but the LPV would have only climbed 5%. But because of the split, we're required by statute to process that split and revalue not only the full cash value based on the change in size or whatever happened to it, but also bring the LPV up to market. And in that area right now, LPV is at a 61.34% ratio. That keeps everybody paying, that keeps everybody the same when it comes to making changes. Like I said, had that parcel never been split and it was still a 4.55 acre parcel, the full cash would have jumped, the LPV would have went up 5%. That was it. It was it's the split process and the statutes that my office has to follow under that process that brought the values and the full cash and the LPV where they are right now.
Is there a distinction between a lot split and simply a deed?
No, there's no distinction.
As I said before, the city doesn't recognize it as a legal lot split.
Mm-hmm.
It was a legal transfer of property. It's got its own legal description. It's got its own parcel number. And based on that information, it's a split in the statute's eyes. It changed that 4.55 acre parcel. That's what caused the recalculation of the LPV.
Well,
So-
I think I understand, but
What's
I want to keep going.
What's the LPV of those empty lots in front of it? You just have,
The two to the east,
yes.
one's at 44,217.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, and the other.
It's not on this one. Okay. Mm-hmm. And they just went up 5%. Is that correct?
They were, I don't know when those were split. Did you know? I'm sorry, this is Jonathan Briones.
Hi, Jonathan. Yeah, we met.
He's the appraiser. He knows all the details about the parcel.
So these two parcels were split in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
The reason, I'm guessing your question is, why are the LPV on these parcels low compared
Mm-hmm.
to
the value?
to the value? The split happened in 2022. They were recorded, and since we worked, the Yuma County Assessor's Office works 2 years ahead in the future. The parcel split was done in 2022. We updated it for 2024.
Mm-hmm.
The land values change triggered on 2025. So when these parcels moved from 2024 to 2025 tax years, there's only a 5% increase.
Mm-hmm.
There hasn't been any modifications on those lands. Are there any modifications on those lands, like a lot split, new construction recently? Currently, it looks like there's new construction being built, and they will be ruled B, like I said, in this on this.
They'll be increased.
Yeah, it's gonna change their valuation because something was done to them, and because something has not been done to them currently, or like for tax year for the assessor's office tax year 2025, their LPV does not change. To compare to like
Their LBP, there hasn't been done anything to that land except that one little section on a deed. So how come theirs went, their LPV went up higher than 5%?
because of this law.
Supervisor
The
Pancras,
limit on
their LPV was based off of an old valuation. So when that property was split, like I said before, it's an allocation process. So when that property was split, it was valued at an old valuation. It gets allocated out, and the LPV ratio is applied at that time, but it was applied against much lower values. Now that we've revalued those properties in there, if they were to do anything to their sites, they would be, their limited property value would be based on the 61%. And they would be brought up to market. So it's a sequence of timing in a lot of cases because of the tax cycle that we're in. We're always, like Jonathan mentioned, we're always working 2 years in ahead. There's deadlines. I mean, we have notices that come out in February, a notice that comes out in September. Sometimes once we get past that notice, you've got to do special things because the property owner has already been noticed. The split occurs, we send things out on a supplemental notice to alert the property owners of the changes. And then after that point, everything.
Well, and to give them time to appeal.
And give them time to appeal, come in here.
And that's what they've done. And the argument here isn't that whether it's fair or not, it's just a timing issue. Whether it's applied to, before you do any, actually, there's nothing that actually increases the value of that property other than the split. And the split hasn't happened yet.
It's actually not
It's
split.
actually not
Correct.
split. It's just a deed separation, which to the county assessor, it's a split. But to everybody else, it's not
That's
done
right.
yet.
It's not.
So
that's right.
it's just a recording on a deed. So I don't think the guys are disagreeing that will raise its value once the split's done and something is developed. I don't think they're arguing that. And I don't think they're arguing about the timing. They're just simply saying, oh, they're
That's
arguing
correct.
about the timing.
We're not arguing, and we agree that the LPV is lower, and that's to our benefit, and yeah, we're on board with all that. We're simply just saying that until that property, we did not expect a property tax increase until we
That's right.
had a property that was able to generate
The funds.
the funds
To
and
pay
the
for it.
development to feed.
And I think,
So
Tony,
that's
you're
simply
spending,
all.
I do understand, I do. Sometimes it seems like I don't, but I do understand where you're coming from. There's a difference between how the city looks at it, how a regular person looks at it, and how the county assessor has to look at it by statute. And that's why people get the chance to come in front of the valuation, the Board of Adjustment, and say, look, it is not time, or it's not fair, and then they have to present evidence to the contrary. I don't think we don't understand that. It's just the evidence here is that the county works 2 years ahead, and the owner is saying, we don't know that yet. We don't know how long it's going to take us for us to actually get that value up to. Right now, it's a paper value. Until it's split to him and to most people looking at it, it doesn't change anything. It's the same piece of empty property that it was before the split was made and it was purchased. To you, the purchase triggered something, and the split triggered something, and for you, a split's a split, whether it's like acknowledged or recognized by anybody else.
I would just like to add to that, had this been sent through the city split process correctly, this parcel would be valued at $6 a square foot, not the $3.10 a square foot. Its full cash value would be would be twice as much, and its LPV would be twice as much. So we're recognizing the fact that it's not technically legal for development, but it's still a change of ownership. It's still that piece is still taken out of the 4.5 acre piece that Mr. Hale owned. They're two separate parcels now by deed. So the fact it doesn't apply to plat process, I think we've taken that into consideration in the full cash value that we put on this property.
A little one, but not the big one.
Is the Hale property also at the $3? or
No,
is it
it's a 6.
No, it's at $135 an acre, which is the market value of acreage parcels around it.
It's not.
And is that what it was last year?
No, last year was at 46,000 an acre.
Okay.
That's what he's complaining
This
about.
valuation that we did in '23, all the notices were gone by the time we got done with that valuation on commercial parcels there. So the next place that we can update our values would be in 2025, which is what we've done, which is what has triggered these, the supplemental notices that were sent.
Well, Tony, let me tell you what I'm inclined to do. I'm inclined to refuse the evaluation and have it come back, because it will come back next year if it. And by then, we'll say, well, time has got passed. You've got noticed, you got to do something with it because the value.
Ideally, there'll be development.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be my inclination to just simply, void the evaluation right now, keep it as it was before, and then have it happen as it should when the
With 5%
split happens,
increase.
it's legalized. That would be my choice right now.
On
Now, I
one
don't
or
know.
both.
I agree.
So is that an individual choice that I have to make? Well, one, I'll make a motion on the first one to void the, what do you call it? Evaluation? What's it called? I mean, I have two options.
Full cash value.
Full cash value, it's an action taken.
Excuse me,
No, look, if you keep going like this, it's not gonna do much. Tony, you made a good point, and I appreciate the point that you made. Chris, you made a good point, and that's a good point, and I'm telling you both. Next year, we don't expect it to come back because now you have full notice. You notice that it's gonna change. Everything is up and, it's gonna happen, okay?
Now you
Whatever-
can use the
whatever
same
decisions are
funds.
made here today are locked in for 2 years.
Even better yet. You have 2 years to adapt.
Developed by then. And their property values are gonna
So
go sky.
this is, you have 2 years to adapt, and there's a way to say this, that it's like.
Right here.
Yeah, there is a way.
Accept or reject the. Uphold. Okay, well, my motion will be not to uphold the evaluation of real property by the, not reconsider. Reconsider means we have to set a value, and I don't want to do that. I just want to deny the appeal. I mean, approve the appeal and just.
I think you just deny the assessment.
So we want
That's what I
to
don't
approve
understand.
the appeal.
We have to deny the assessor's evaluation or approve the appeal? What do you do?
Accept the proposal from.
Oh, well, it's separate for both, but what do you
For
do?
one, item one.
For item one, I would deny the board's, not the board's, the assessor's evaluation.
Says uphold or reconsider.
Hold or reconsider, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm reconsidering it. And I'm setting it as it was last year. Okay, is that good enough? Because see, the way that it looks in here, it's either to uphold or reconsider, not to deny it, to uphold or reconsider. So if I reconsider it, if I say I want to reconsider the assessor's evaluation to
Or
last year.
you're reconsidering what Mr. Thompson is saying.
That's what I don't understand.
You're considering.
Is to reconsider to void, or is to void everything?
If you accept the proposal from the landowner.
Oh, no,
property owner,
well, that's not what I'm given a choice to do. What I'm given a choice to do is either uphold, it says here, sitting as the board of equalization, either uphold the assessor's decision or reconsider the valuation of the real property. But we've been told already that real property, we won't do much. I mean, unless we set it to what it was last year, which would be not to uphold, which would be to deny the assessor's recommendation. Is that what I need to do? Deny the assessor's recommendation?
I think that's it.
Okay, so my motion on item number one would be to deny the assessor.
Two.
Oh,
separate.
yeah, they're separate. So I gotta do that one first, and then it will hold for 2 years. So you guys have 2 years, and I don't expect to see you guys back in 2 years, but that would be my decision right now. That would be my motion. My motion would be to deny the assessor's evaluation and set it to last year's, or to reset it. So how would I do that? Is that enough?
I think so.
Okay, that would be my motion on the first one. I know, Tony, I know. Wait. The chairman can do that, but I can't.
Get a second?
Is there a second?
Well, there's a motion, and once there's a second, we'll hear the discussion.
Is there a second?
Is there a
I second it.
Okay.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Tony?
Tony.
Thank you, Chris.
If you're gonna reduce this back to $19,000.
Well, that's what you guys did when this is the only.
That was an allocated value based off of outdated market data, outdated market values that have been in existence for way too long. If I've got to, I mean, I feel like as a chief deputy assessor, I've got to provide you with decent advice here. My
Yes,
advice
go ahead.
is you've got a lot of other property owners around this parcel that are going to be unfairly valued based on this for 2 years.
But they were given the same notice we were and could have brought an appeal. And did they?
And they didn't because they agreed.
Go-
with
okay.
that.
It's important that the questions be directed to the board and the board direct them back, just so we can keep a record. I'm sorry. Thanks.
I mean, Mr. Townsend brings up a good point. Nobody else raised an issue about the valuation. And it seems like the issue here is not about the valuation, it's Arizona's assessment process that every county in the state follows.
But we're not changing the assessment process.
But-
We are tasked with adjusting it. So that's what we're doing right now, I thought. We're adjusting it back to what it used to be. That's it. Where is it? Where's the, I mean, if everybody comes in next year because they don't like their evaluation, we have to discuss that individually like we did today and make decisions. And I'm telling everybody, look, you had your chance. You had your notice. You didn't follow it up and complain. You have, I don't know if you have the right to do it next year, but I don't know if you can really actually
They're
do
set
that.
for 2 years.
But it's set. And what I'd like to think is that there's nothing that changed on this property. It's just a matter of, it's a technicality as far as I'm concerned. And I'm just fixing that technicality by actually just denying the assessor's recommendation and going back to what it used to be for 2 years. I don't know if I have to say all that stuff, but that's what I want to do. Is that okay? I mean, it's not okay. It's not okay with the assessor, but I mean, is that okay as a motion?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a motion.
Yeah, I already got a second, just call for the question.
All right. Any other comment? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Second.
Second.
The second item is be the same way.
Now you
I'll
have
make
to
a
do
motion to
Hale.
go ahead and deny the assessor's recommendation and set the values at what they were last year.
There's a motion.
Now we're talking the hail piece.
Yes.
You're going to take it back to what it was last
Well,
year.
I
Well,
mean,
what's
what are
that
they
do
gonna
to
do
the
it
other
for?
surrounding properties that are getting valued at 130?
They haven't split. When they split, look, one of them has a car wash as far as I'm concerned. The other ones have been used already commercially. So they're okay with their assessment because they've changed their use. They changed it to a revenue producing use, which I can understand. Once you do that, then you know you're gonna pay more taxes because your property is valued more. This one here, the reason I'm doing this is because really, there's really been no particular physical change that can be traced back to something that I would consider a legal document or something, some building or some improvement in the property other than taking the brush out. So I've already explained that that's why I'm making this decision. I'm giving the owners right now a couple of years to understand that they're going to be assessed differently. Their LPV is going to change. Their fuel cash values are going to change as soon as that becomes legal in terms of most people. Okay?
I would appreciate.
You adjusted, okay, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, I would appreciate it if one fact isn't overlooked here. The values that were placed on those parcels in that area are not based on whether they're developed or not. They're based on vacant land that can be put to a highest and best use. So it doesn't matter whether there's buildings on them or not. When we came up with $135,000 an acre or $6.10 a square foot, it was as vacant land. No improvements, no nothing. So I would
But-
like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're right, but the other parcels were only, their limited property value only went up 5%. And these didn't.
Because they were split earlier, and because of that, they were placed, their allocated values were under an old valuation. When it went into the new valuation year, they were still under the old valuation. If they were to do something today, or had been split in that period of adjustment of values, we'd be looking at the same thing as this piece and the larger L piece. But they weren't. It was a timing issue.
I know, and that's the problem.
It is a timing issue. And
It
it's
is.
giving them a little more time to adjust. I mean,
Yes.
I don't want this to be taken in as everybody else that is around those properties can complain, because they can't. They have to follow the procedure. They have to file an appeal. They have to be in front of the Board of Equalization. They have to justify why they're doing this. To me, the only justification there is for this change is that it still hasn't happened totally yet, and I'm just giving it time to happen. But that's it. It's not that it won't happen. It's not that it's not fair or just. It will be fair or just. You're just getting the notice. You're noticing now. You're getting notice.
Can I ask one thing? So Starbucks is going in on the bottom right parcel. So when do they?
Yes.
Is it 2 years?
Sorry.
It's exciting news, I know. So will they, and I'm trying to direct my question to them, but it's really to you. I'm going through them back to you. So when Starbucks, let's say this year in 2025 or December of 2025, they open for business, when will their reassessment of their value occur? After the 2 years from this year, or immediately when they submit plans and build a building?
If they have a building built in 2024, then and we've already noticed everybody for 25, they'll go on the books for 26.
So that it won't be the county doesn't have to wait, or the assessor does not wait 2 years to then reassess. It can happen when the building's built.
When something happens.
Yes.
When something happens.
So when there's buildings built on these parcels, even if it's within the 2 year that we're talking about, a 2 year lock, then that gets reopened again.
Once that 2 year, let's say if it was a 23, it'd be 23 and 24, then it'll trigger then.
Right. So a new build can also trigger that.
Yes, a new building will, and then it'll go for 2 years after that. No, every year.
Yes.
Okay.
Once that building.
Property that has been split, subdivided or consolidated. I mean, to me, that means subdivided or consolidated into something. That's what triggers this limited property value change. So if it happens next year, it'll be next year when it triggers it. That's what triggered this one, even though there hasn't been anything. According to the county, this has been a lot split. According to most normal people, this lot split hasn't happened yet. The land hasn't been used to the new value. And I know the value is low, really low, because I looked at it. It's really low. I mean, it's not, but it's almost twice or 3 times what they were paying, and nothing has happened in that property. I can understand
That's
that
right.
from the standpoint of a regular guy.
Well, when
But,
it's, yeah.
I
when
mean,
it's
the
4
county
acres.
has to follow statute. And I understand that too. They have to adjust it. Whether they like it or not, they have to adjust it. They have adjusted it very low. I understand that too. And what I'm doing is I'm saying, look, this adjustment is just not timely. When something happens in there, you guys get to adjust it to real reality,
Value.
real stuff. This one is sort of like created by the split, which hasn't been formalized yet. So when it's formalized, then I think you even have a reason to come back in less than 2 years and say, hey, a split did happen. It is recorded. It is legally recorded. Now there's construction in it. You can assess it at whatever recorded price there is once the lot splits, or whenever that Starbucks, which I hate. But
Just so everybody's on the same page, yeah, this value would be locked in for 2 years unless something happens to the site before that. ends.
So
If it runs back through another split process.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's gonna
Agreed.
change this whole 2-year lock-in thing.
That's right.
If they start putting.
Oh, it'll be higher. It'll be higher.
That 2-year lock goes away. And it will go to value at that point.
Yeah, but I think by then it's understood that, you developed it, and developing changes the price of everything. I mean, it's understood. I understand it that way. I buy empty properties that are agriculture in nature. By the time I change it, zoning and I develop something, then everything changes. The
That's
value
right.
becomes an individual lot value or
With
a
all due-
zoning value.
With all
But
due
something
respect,
like-
that's a different situation.
I know it's a different situation.
It's a different scenario. Nothing changed here, just the split.
But they have-
Still
no.
zoned the same, still vacant land, everything around is vacant land, and that's how it was valued.
Well, the fact that you valued it at twice its original site without anything happening there is what brought this up.
That's.
I know, but that's
how it
statutory
works.
driven. That's how it works. And that's why people get a chance to appeal and come in front of the board. And that's why I think as a board, we can make that decision. And we are doing that. I made a motion and I hope it was second on the second one.
I seconded
Okay.
You made a motion
Yeah,
for
yeah.
number two?
Number two.
You haven't- You haven't made the second one
Oh,
on the
I
other
thought I
piece.
did. So I'll make my second motion. I did, I thought I did.
Yeah, we
Didn't I?
believe that he did and that it was seconded.
Yeah, it was seconded. So we're just discussing it before we make a motion. This is for the Hale property.
An opportunity to discuss it.
Just in Hale.
Yeah, there was a
Okay.
motion and a second.
May we please vote?
And remember, this is timely.
You
All
have to
right.
go somewhere, huh?
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Right?
No, that was
second.
the second.
That was on the second parcel.
That was for Mr. Hale.
The 4-acre one?
Yes.
Oh, now, I didn't know we were talking about that one. We were talking about the Mr. Thompson.
Too late.
No.
No, we voted twice.
Yeah, we did that motion and then you said,
voted
you asked. So
One thing.
that's why I gave you to comment because I asked for any comment.
I'm sorry, I missed that. But the Hale piece does not have the restrictions on it that the Thompson piece does. I don't believe the same decision should be made on both parcels. As far as I know, the Hale piece can be developed. It was split in accordance to the split process. Everything was done by the book on that end of it. There's access from 20th Street and Avenue B to it.
Well, Tony, we made a motion. and-
If it's
and a second,
developed,
and we
then
made
it
a
will change.
decision. So-
Once you split it, that will trigger that
The
reevaluation.
plan for Mr. Hale is to develop.
So
good,
once that starts, it'll trigger another.
Round of discussion. Not from us.
At least that's what I understood from last time we saw this was because Mr. Haley was speaking for his property first, and that's how we understood it.
And now Mr. Thompson speaking for Mr. Hale. So it's done.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Tom, Tony.
It's unanimous.
Buddy, but it's unanimous vote, so we'll come back and do
Thank you.
something else, okay?
I'll adjourn as the Yuma County Board of Equalization and reconvene as the Yuma County Board of Supervisors. Planning and zoning agenda, full legal descriptions of property sites for all rezoning cases are available for public review at the Yuma County Board of Supervisors office. Expedited rezoning and public hearing. These items will be open as a group for public hearing and acted upon by one motion to adopt the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission.
This one
except
is
for
lower.
any item that is removed by the board member for separate consideration. The item will be discussed and acted upon by one separate following action on expedited items. And we have, I'll go ahead and open all four expedited rezoning items as one group.
Let me ask, this is special use permit 1, 2, and 3, and then there's a rezoning case.
All
So
four.
we open up for the 4 items for discussion. right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll make a motion, we go ahead and approve them on expedited way.
But
There's a public hearing.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Open it
I'm
to
sorry,
the public.
I thought we had the public hearing after.
Not
No.
before you make the motion.
Hey, look.
All right. I'll open
It
up
is an expedited
one,
process.
I'll open up, I don't know, one special use permit case number 24-08, item number 2, special use permit case number 24-09, item number 3, special use permit case number 24-10, and item number 4, rezoning case number 24-18. And I'll go ahead and open up to the public, anybody from the public that wishes is against or for, Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board for a decision.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve special use permit 2408, special use permit 2409, special use permit 2410.
Tony.
And that's, we didn't do rezoning, right?
And 2418.
And rezoning case 2418.
I'll second the motion.
There's a motion and a second to approve item 1, 2, 3, 4 as a group as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
That was quick.
Anybody want to argue?
Moving on to
Wait, well, you're ahead.
Bye, Rosie.
rezoning regular public hearing items. Staff will make a full presentation on each of the following items, followed by separate discussion, public hearing, and action by the Board of Supervisors. Item number 1, text amendment case number 2402.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Morning.
We'd like a presentation. This item was brought to you on August the 5th as a discussion item. The board approved this type of changes to be taken to the Planning and Zoning Commission to initiate a text amendment, and now we're here with an actual text amendment. We'd like a presentation.
No, that's, I mean, if we seen it already.
I'm going to vote against it. I think that every time we adopt City of Yuma requirements, we're taking away the fact that people move out to the county to get away from City of Yuma requirements. And every time you bring one of this, I'm just a little taken back a little, because I know that what we did is approve the whole thing. But this is an individual item that you're bringing in. The parking requirements for the city should be different than county. The county should be more lenient than the cities.
Yep, we're stricter, aren't we?
Well, this makes us restrictive. Are we more restrictive? Are we more restrictive than the city?
We are more restrictive than the city on parking.
Mr. Chairman, that's correct. Actually,
explain it to me.
We're more restrictive than they are.
Correct.
We require more spaces than they require.
That's correct.
And this would make it so that we will require less spaces
for parking.
For parking, the same as the cities, correct?
Because I thought it was more restrictive, and it is more restrictive than most counties.
Yeah,
I
we are,
realize
so
that.
we need to change it.
Yes. But why would we, don't use it like the cities, come up with your own. Oh, they just say the parking requirements of the city.
I
It
think
sounds really bad to me.
I think
but
it's
it may
just
not
making
be.
it easier for the developers to understand that the
yeah.
city and county are the same
Well,
as far as parking.
If it's less restrictive, I'll go for it, but normally when you say.
Less restrictive.
I just have a natural aversion to city code.
So, Mr. Chairman, what we did is we combined both parking spaces, and we used the City of Yuma's parking spaces, and we added our current parking spaces requirements. So we have more listings, more uses on our table.
Let me see. We're not changing the county's parking requirements?
Yes.
Yes.
We are.
So we're adopting the cities, and the cities are less restrictive than the county.
And we are adding our parking, existing parking requirements.
Oh, wait a minute.
Say that again?
Okay. But yeah, this doesn't sound like.
See, you jumped in this and got everybody confused.
No, there's no confusion.
Mr. Chairman, Maggie Castro, Planning and Zoning Director. So what this change does is it changes some of the requirements that the county had. And what we did is merge the two tables, the city's parking requirements and the county's parking requirements. So for example, offices and clinics, the county did not have a specific category for that. I think we had medical centers or something similar to that. So what we added is that specific category, and we were utilizing the city's parking requirement for that.
Got it.
So it only applies to certain categories, not our entire parking uses or categories. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Or do you need
Yeah.
further?
Tony,
further
remember what you
explanation?
said, quit while you're ahead.
No, I'm quitting. I'm not saying anything. But, but I don't know why we're so restrictive, I mean, as a county.
We have
Well,
always been.
you've been here the longest, tell us why.
I don't know if I
We're
haven't
trying
been
to
brought
fix your
back in.
mistakes.
Yeah, right. I'm sure you have. But let's keep fixing my mistakes.
Okay.
By adding more restrictions, okay?
Any other questions?
I'm gonna change his, see, he said
I didn't
deny.
make a motion.
I'm gonna make a motion that we accept the text
no,
amendment.
You gotta public hearing.
We accept the text amendment
No,
case
you have to have public
24-02.
You gotta have a public hearing first.
I'll open the
So
public
you
hearing.
don't screw it up again.
I don't like it. I don't like the way it was stated.
Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board.
Oh, there was
Okay.
nothing?
Now-
No public comment? Jesus.
I'll make a motion again that we approve text amendment case number 24-02 as presented.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second to approve text amendment case number 24-02 as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item number 2, minor amendment case number 2405.
Mr. Chairman, can you also open item number 3?
And I'll go ahead and open up item number 3, rezoning case number 24-16.
Let me see, if the minor amendment passes, then 3 becomes relevant. If it doesn't pass, then 3 is not to be discussed. Is that the way it works? Okay. I mean, that was the way it worked when I was 20 years ago.
Right, so you'll need to make the first one. If
Yeah.
it's not affirmative, then you're.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Moving forward, the request is to change the land use designation of a parcel 1.28 acres in size from agricultural preservation to agricultural industrial. Property is located in the Yuma Valley Planning Area, northeast corner of Avenue D and County 15th Street in Somerton, Arizona, located in the 65 decibel noise zone, and the intent is to rezone the subject parcel to light industrial 1 acre minimum to allow a warehouse with an office on. This is the land use map. Property is surrounded by agricultural preservations and across is from City of Somerton jurisdiction, which is in agricultural. This is the aerial imagery of the property, outlined in blue. Received comments from MCAS. Minor amendment case number 2405, Planning and Zoning Commission recommends denial on the basis that the amendment is not consistent with the existing character of Yuma Valley plan area. The amendment does not represent overall improvement to the plan and will only benefit the landowner. The amendment does not address an oversight inconsistency or inequity. Moving forward to rezoning case number 2416, the request of a parcel to rezone a parcel 1.28 gross acres in size from low density residential 40,000 square foot minimum to light industrial 1 acre minimum. The property is located in the Yuma Valley Planning Area, northeast corner of Avenue D and County 15th Street. Somerton, located in 65 decibel noise zone, and the intent is to allow a warehouse with an office. This is the zoning map. Property is highlighted in red. Parcel 11, 15, 16, 17, 18, 12, and 13 are currently zoned R140. Parcel to the across County 15th Street. It's within the City of Somerton. It's agriculture. Parcel number 2, it's currently zoned RA40. It's in agriculture. Parcel 16, it's zoned RA5. Parcel 17 is currently zoned SR1, and it's a site-built residence on it. This is the subject property, outlined in blue. MCS provided comments. This is the sample that was submitted to the applicant. For zoning case number 2416, Planning and Zoning Commission recommends denial. If the board decides to approve this rezoning case, staff suggests attaching the following conditions. Within 60 days of approval by the board of supervisors, the owner or agent shall require an infrastructure disclosure statement, a range disclosure statement, aviation, and agricultural disclosure statements. And that concludes that presentation. And the applicant is present.
So you're saying it's gonna be a warehouse?
What kind of warehouse? You know the kind? Because, I mean, if it was agriculture, it wouldn't.
The applicants are currently contractors, so it might be a contractor's warehouse to store material, equipment, vehicles.
You know what strikes me as really odd about this is that they approved them, the Planning and Zoning Commission approved the minor amendment and then denied the.
Planning and Zoning Commission recommends denial on both of them, a minor amendment and rezoning case.
Denial on both.
Really?
Is that a home in the map right there next to it, across from it? See, this is a home and is that a home up there?
Yes.
Oh, it's because they
There's
voted
currently
aye
a
on
home
it.
here, a manufactured home, another manufactured home, and some palm trees with a farmhouse.
And that's a
site built in the back?
That's a site built, correct.
And that's a site built over here?
That's another site built.
But it's all zone agriculture.
Uh-huh.
R140 and SR1, yes.
Yeah, it's confusing. They all voted aye, but it was a motion to deny.
Correct.
They voted aye to deny.
Voted aye to deny. That's pretty.
That's really unusual.
And so you said that there's an office and a shop, huh?
In MCA complaint, sorry, Mr. Chairman.
You said an office and a shop?
Correct.
So obviously, it's gotta be, they're gonna continue using it for ag. Because it's still, they want it zone,
Well, currently, the property is zoned low density residential, which only allows single-family residence.
Okay, but it's in the 65 decimal.
Correct. It was, the property was zoned previous to adoption of the comprehensive plan.
And everything else in that area is single-family residential.
Correct.
So
It's the
yeah.
introduction of a commercial building into single-family residential that's
Yeah.
surrounding.
I agree, that's,
but it's zone agriculture.
I understand.
but it's single family. You could put 3 parcels on there, right? Because it was zoned before it?
Well, the property is zoned R140, 40,000 square foot minimum. This property is only 1 acre, 1 acre point 28.
Well, and see,
That's only 1 acre, so that would, you'd.
They
sell
can only
it as
build one house, yes.
One house.
And right now, what is there? What do they have?
Agriculture what?
Currently, it's low density residential.
Low, no, but what, does it have a home?
No, it's some sheds and inoperable vehicles, inoperable RVs on the property.
From the air.
Okay. Any other questions for staff?
I think
We'll hear from the applicant.
Open it to the public, yeah?
No, I'll do the applicant. Go ahead.
I'm Joe Rojas. I represent my family, my parents. We just pretty much wanted to do a warehouse / thing, so we have a new tenant there. That's the main reason we tried to do something, because we didn't want to get vacant land. Like I said, it's a big acre for a house. I noticed, I've been talking to City of Somerton, that they were trying to annex us to City of Somerton, because they had all the in front of County 15. It's going to be commercial in the future. So that's why we thought maybe do like a warehouse kind of thing. But that's still in process. We're still seeing what probably be the best option for us to be, because we don't want to leave like a vacant lot either, just store stuff like that.
Question, please.
Go ahead.
Now, it's a 65 decibel zone, which is why MCAS is just saying we don't really like anything built in that kind of high decibel zone. Is there anything that in particular would require this building to be built specifically to a different standard? Right? Is it noise attenuating? Does it have to be noise attenuating if you build a building, a shell?
Mr. Chairman, Maggie Castro, Planning and Zoning Director. So depending on the use, yes, they do have to follow noise attenuation standards. Again, depending on the use, whether it's an office or a warehouse. Keep in mind that this property, the reason staff recommended denial is the property is adjacent to the city of Somerton. It's within the city of Somerton general plan, and it's designated by the city of Somerton or in the city of Somerton's general plan as commercial. The R140 zoning district was established prior to the adoption of the comprehensive plan, prior to the adoption of the joint land use plan, although, yeah, it was also prior to the adoption of the joint land use plan. The zoning R140 would allow, even though it's in the 65 decibel noise zone, would allow the property to be developed as a residential property, because it was the zoning was adopted prior to, again, the comprehensive and joint land use plan.
Mm-hmm.
So it's planned for commercial and they want industrial.
Correct.
So that's not upzoning, that's downzoning to me.
Nuts.
I mean, upzoning is when you are commercial.
Commercial, yeah.
So why are we getting this much opposition to something that essentially limits the use?
Mr. Chairman,
Is the kind of use it limits?
the existing uses surrounding the property are residential. The property directly to the west and northwest are zoned SR1, suburban ranch 1 acre minimum. And the properties to the east are zoned low density residential, 40,000 square foot minimum. There are some properties nearby to the northeast and then further west off the map here that are being used for uses that are incidental to agriculture, the storage of irrigation pipes and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
As well.
To me, this area, you go through there and obviously to get infrastructure, even from the city of Somerton there, it's gonna take a lot. And I don't believe the city of Somerton is gonna do it. Not all the way to County 15 and Avenue D, or at least on that side. Honestly, seeing a building there that it's in that area there cleaned up, it would definitely look a lot better. It's still like Mr. Reyes said, it's light industrial. It's already, the city wants commercial. All that other properties south of County 15, it is commercial. Or will be commercial. Because you can't build any residentials because of the flight zone.
Oh, yeah.
So, we're kind of, the county, we're kind of contradicting ourselves. Just because it was zoned, but if he wanted to build a house there, I guarantee you that there will be either the bays would be in opposition or the county or staff would have something to do with it.
Mr. Chairman.
This is something that
it can
one's
be
gonna
used.
living in there. It's for a business. I just kind of, lean on that. Yeah, I see that area starting to at least be cleaned up.
Mr. Chairman, like I said it earlier, there's existing zoning, which is R140, was established prior to the adoption of the joint land use plan, prior to the adoption of the comprehensive plan.
Yes.
So if the intent was to build a residence, they could build a residence without having to obtain a variance or come before the Planning and Zoning Commission or Board of Supervisors.
But you don't think the base would have something to say against
They
it?
couldn't.
The zoning is vested. Mr. Chairman, the zoning is vested. R140.
But they would say it. I know they would. They say it up on the mesa over here when they're 3 miles away from the base, so I know.
If a rezoning was required, yes, the Marine Corps Air Station would be able to submit comments.
It's not only on the it's also on the flights on the danger or
But it
what do they
doesn't
call
have
the
to be
flight zone.
rezoned. It doesn't have to be
All that area.
rezoned. It doesn't have to be rezoned residential. We wouldn't hear it. We would not, it wouldn't
Once
come
the
to
permit
us.
goes through, believe me. But anyways.
It wouldn't come to us because it would be residential.
Well, the only question that remains to me is whether we like it to remain the way it is, or we'd like to see some improvements done to that property. That's the only thing that to me means anything.
Yeah, correct,
Because they
Mr.
could
Chairman.
build a house.
Before what you're hearing today is a minor amendment to change the land use designation from agricultural rural preservation to agriculture industrial, and the request to change the zoning from low-density residential, 40,000 square foot minimum, to light industrial, 1 acre
I
minimum.
have a question.
Go ahead.
Remind me what light industrial can have on it, because once we rezone this light industrial, they say they're gonna put a metal building on it and an office, but that doesn't mean they couldn't sell it to somebody and put what else on it?
What does light industrial allow?
Yeah, there you go, because that's what happens is once it's zoned light industrial, they can sell it for a higher amount and put something on it that is yucky.
But it's in the plan as commercial, which allows even more.
I know, but no, commercial doesn't allow a light industrial.
Mr. Chairman, the purpose of the light industrial zoning district is to permit commercial uses and light industries which are not obnoxious or offensive to adjoining properties due to emission of odor, smoke, gas, noise, vibration, or other causes. The district is not intended to permit manufacturing or production of items considered hazardous, such as ammunition, fireworks, gas, or dangerous chemicals.
That you can't do.
That's correct.
Basically allows commercial and some uses that are not toxic.
Commercial and light industrial uses, correct.
Okay, okay. Is there more? Go ahead.
Say something real quick. The whole thing, we were gonna move our other tenant that does granite to this new location. But since all this is going on, he still kind of doesn't want to leave the other location for this reason because you don't know what we're gonna do here. But that was the whole main thing, what we're trying to do. Well, our old tenant that does granite, which is maybe little dust here and there when we cut, but that's pretty much all they were doing. But with both than that, we're gonna just have it for pretty much for rent for any other tenant that wants to come in. That's why we're trying to do that.
Mr. Chairman, I see this as an improvement, so.
I do too. I mean, and then just to, you know, we've done this on other areas that are like on Somerton Avenue between.
Oh, yeah, we
13.
have.
We cleaned up. I mean, that area, if you go through there, it's nice. I mean, it's.
Getting better, yeah.
It's getting better. This area, I'll open it up to, thank you, Mr. Rosas.
Thank you.
I'll open up the public hearing. Anybody from the public? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion, we approve minor amendment number 2405.
24 dash 16 or
24 dash 05, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2405.
24 dash 05. Jose and.
Yeah,
Then you do the
24,
next one.
24.
Then you do the next one, sir.
2416 is the next one.
There's a motion. Is there a second? I'll second it. There's a motion and a second to approve minor amendment case number 24-05. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay, aye, nay, whatever.
That was kind of emphatic.
Whatever
only
the
get one vote.
opposition of whatever the person
I'm
was.
voting
It's only one
against
vote,
it.
Lynn.
I'm voting against it.
41.
Okay.
I don't think he sounded too enthusiastic on the left side either, but we'll take it.
You know, like Charles District.
Rezoning case number 24-16.
Same scenario, right? It's just a continuation of the first item. If it hadn't been approved, then we probably would have denied it.
I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. No one from the public, bring back to the board.
On rezoning case number 2416, I move to approve as presented.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
There's a motion and a second to approve rezoning case number 2416 as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay,
One nay. Moving on to item number 4, rezoning case number 2417.
and staff.
Good morning, Richard Munguia, Senior
Pictures up on
Planner.
the wall now.
The applicant has requested a continuance to the next Board of Supervisors meeting in November. And that's all I have.
Okay.
So move.
All right.
Move to continue.
Just make sure you put the date down in case there's any posting requirements and stuff.
Move this item to the next meeting of November.
Mr. Chairman, can you all come again?
What, do we have to? Okay, well then let's do it.
Okay, all right, I'll open up the public hearing. Anybody from the public? Seeing none, bring it back to the board.
Motion to continue this item till the next hearing, to the next meeting. November.
November 18th. There's a motion and a second to continue this rezoning case number 24-17 to meeting in November 18th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Alejandro, legislative issue.
Pásale.
Get 2 minutes.
For the 20th.
I'm not gonna be here the 20th. Huh? Sorry.
You're not gonna be on.
But I will be here Friday. Okay, thank you.
What's Friday?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Alejandro Figueroa, Economic Development and Intergovernmental Affairs Director for Yuma County. I'll be giving you a brief legislative update given the fact that Congress is not in session and
Legislature.
We're waiting for election day tomorrow. I'll start with that. As you know, tomorrow is election day in the U.S., and some Arizona organizations have been tracking the return of early ballots in Arizona. One of these organizations is Uplift Data, who for several cycles now has done a day-by-day
Thank you, ma'am.
accounting of return early ballots that are cited by politicians of both of Arizona's major parties. Including all returns from October 31st and earlier, Uplift reports that 2,188,301 ballots have been returned in total, which translates to a total turnout of 50.1%. 718,000 ballots returned by Democratic Party registrants, totaling 56.8% in-party specific turnout. More than 894,000 ballots returned by Republican Party registrants, totaling 57.5% in party specific turnout. 575,000 ballots are ballots returned by registrants who did not identify a party, totaling 37.3% of independents. Republican registrants have a positive 0.5% turnout advantage over Democratic registrants. There are currently more than 176,000 ballots that have been returned by Republican registrants compared to their Democratic counterparts. The data sources utilized by Uplift Data are from the Arizona Democratic Party voter file, Arizona County Recorder's Office, and the Arizona Secretary of State's office. On the state side, Governor's Regulatory Review Council considered a rule change last week that allows for once-a-week garbage collection. This rule reduces the current statewide frequency of collection requirement for garbage from twice a week to once a week. This rule retains the variance procedure to allow for collection less than once a week and simplifies the process by allowing counties to grant a variance without state involvement. Other changes include providing a definition of collection agency, allowing a county to request ADEQ to assume variance functions, and allowing counties to designate the relevant county department to assume variance functions. Stakeholders for this rulemaking include all 15 counties within the state, local municipalities, including cities, towns, and other agencies like health departments. The stakeholders most directly affected by this rule change are most likely to be those counties with existing frequency of collection variances approved with ADEQ and collection agencies operating in jurisdictions adhering to current twice weekly frequency of collection minimum that would change to the new once weekly minimum following this rule. In general, ADEQ does not anticipate any appreciable cost to stakeholders as a result of this rulemaking. On the federal side, last month, the U.S. Treasury and its Office of Inspector General issued a joint notice requiring grantees and subrecipients of the Emergency Rental Assistance ERA program to reimburse any funds disbursed due to fraud or unallowable expenses, despite previously encouraging grantees to accept, and I quote, self-attestations, end quote, from applicants without further documentation. The ERA program provided direct funding to help families with rental and utility payments during COVID-19, targeting counties with populations over 200,000. The National Association of Counties, NACO, previously requested that the Treasury protect grantees from liability from funds distributed in good faith, even if recipients later proved ineligible. However, Treasury did not respond. NACO warns that the new repayment policy will force agencies to divert funds meant for urgent housing needs and could impact future emergency programs. In response, NACO and other national organizations have urged Treasury to rescind this notice. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, that would conclude my presentation for today.
Wow.
Questions for Alejandro?
Anything new on the border crossing, and the border construction?
Mr. Chairman, Supervisor Reyes, no new update on that side.
I'd like to get an update on where the construction is. I mean, it looks like it's going pretty fast, but that's because they're raising buildings, so just get an update on it. Please, thank you.
Anything else? Thank you, Alejandro.
Sure.
We'll move on to Events?
Here we go.
Good.
I met with spoke with constituents concerning some issues. I attended the special sessions. I did the proclamation for domestic violence awareness function. I attended Proverbs 31 Night of Hope Gala in San Luis. I spoke at the Education Summit for the NAACP. I attended the ribbon cutting for the County Resource Guide for First Things First. I attended Chris May's Elder Scams. Chris May is our Attorney General. She came down to Yuma and I attended that on elder scams. So that's what I did.
You're not implying we're elderly, are you?
Hey, let me tell you, some of those scams are hitting everybody, not just elders, but it is quite scary that people are losing quite a bit of money with some of these elder scams, yes. So it's a serious issue.
Supervisor Lyons?
Participated in the Law Enforcement Training Academy dedication, the Corn Festival.
Oh, was
and
it
ate
good?
lots of different corn-made products. Had several different meetings regarding agriculture, specifically zoning and water and trash.
Yeah.
Participated in the Emily's Place and served lunch to all the law enforcement in Yuma County, first responders. Participated in 2 funerals from, one of them was the Hydrix. They owned an RV park out in the foothills. And then yesterday hosted the Romanian State Press. To Yuma.
Wow.
Cool.
I'm going to be famous in Romania.
Yeah. You'll be on their television. Huh?
Yeah.
Had the honor of addressing about 400 kids for Red Ribbon Assembly out at Salida del Sol, which was very interesting. Kids that age are just full of questions.
Yeah.
Had a white coat shadowing day over at the new YRMC, I forget what they call it now.
Lovita?
Yeah. Attended the Lita ribbon cutting over at AWC. Met with numerous different people, reference an animal control issue in the foothills, as well as talking with Sheriff's Office and Diana, trying to figure out a way to address this issue, and wanted to wish all my fellow Marines a happy 249th birthday coming up this Sunday. Yep.
Great.
I feel a lot fatter. I've been attending too many dinners. So let's put them away and begin that. But we're in the current election cycle, so it's been pretty busy. The border, you get different issues that you attend to. So logistic issues, meeting with people to talk about that. And I think we attended that USDA presentation on Orangeburg, didn't we?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yes.
The Orange Grove.
Orange Grove's presentation of the USDA assistance. I mean, that's going to make that
Yes.
possible. The city of Somerton and that grant's going to make that possible.
Mhm.
If you had told me something like that could happen 4 years ago, I would have said it's almost impossible. So kudos to whomever, kudos to Diana and to USDA and to people in Somerton, and especially to the people who collect the signatures in Orange Grove.
To get it.
So in that, brought something up.
All right, thank you. I attended that event, that presentation of the check to the county for the sewer with the from the USDA. It was well attended. Good to see a lot of residents from that area.
Okay.
And thanks again to all the staff that worked on that. I also attended another USDA the following Friday for the senior center in Somerton. They got a donation from the or a check from the USDA for kitchen equipment.
Oh, nice.
And also in the front door will open with the automatic or with that push
An automatic
button.
door
Yeah,
opener, yeah.
because it doesn't have one, and there's people with in wheelchair that go in there. I also attended the mayor's and chairman's binational bicycle ride.
Oh, bless you.
That was pretty good. And I also I'm part of the Summerton Cornfest committee. So this past Saturday, since 7 a.m. till 1 a.m.
Oh, my gosh.
You ate a lot of corn.
No, I didn't eat a lot.
You know, somebody told me that afterwards. They said I would have eaten.
Yeah, they had a lot. I mean, it was nice. I think we raised like from between $20,000 and $30,000 and all this money goes to the extracurricular activities for the new high school.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
So-
good. Did you have a good turnout?
It was a good
Oh,
turnout.
A lot of corn.
Thank you, Chairman. Met with City of Yuma Administrator Jay Simonton, had our quarterly managers meeting, which is the administrators from the 3 cities, town and county, just to share different issues. Attended the Yuma County Wellness Fair, attended the Domestic Violence Awareness Event at the main library, the Law Enforcement Training Academy ribbon cutting, met with Jerry Cabrera, Executive Director of Elevate Southwest, attended the Yuma County Job Fair, continued with my annual department visits, met with Humane Society of Yuma County Executive Director Annette Lagunas, along with Health District Director Diana Gomez, Greater Yuma Port Authority Board of Directors meeting, and that's it. Thank you.
I forgot the Greater Yuma Port Authority. Nice.
All right. Anything else?
No, sir.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.